Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Good morning, everybody. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. We're back. It's Thursday. Man, and we got the whole crew back. We got Lucas off IR. He's off of IR, everybody. He's back in the flesh. The man with the legend. Lucas, how you doing?
Look,
we missed you.
I had to get some x-rays on my heart yesterday. The results came back. Everything is good. I'm all right, fellas. They said my heart looks good. It's just a possible blood clot that passed through. So a little scary, but we're back. We're back in the saddle.
So, to sum it up, you got that dog in you.
Got that dog.
Okay.
Got that dog.
That's fair. My partner in crime is always Sam Flannel. Hey. He's still alive after yesterday. I can confirm. We'll get into that in a little bit. JB back in the audio booth holding it down for us with the Raptors hat on. Okay, JB. And the Redwings quarter zip.
Yeah.
What a game last night.
It was a good game. I wish my bets would have hit, but it's all right. No good. Shout out to the Redwings for a good win, though.
See, that's the thing, though, JB. You kind of double dipped because you bet against the Red Wings. So if they win, you're happy. And if they lose, you still make some bread.
I know.
So I don't think, you know what? It's fair. And by the way, the Red Wings are a pretty damn good team. BMG, Michael Gentry, who's too scared to say they'll make the playoffs. It's a playoff team. I mean, the way they're playing, the win last night, too, against a playoff team, it was a great win. And I had a buddy who was there in person. There's a lot of fights. It was, if you were there at that Red Wings game last night, that was the game to go to, 100%. Get Alex DeBrincat, another 3 points. Guy's got 8 points in 4 games. I don't know what else to say. He's that guy. And I'm happy he's here in Detroit. Back in Detroit.
I mean, I know it's a small sample size, but Alex DeBrincat looks like he's playing even better than he ever did during his peak years in Chicago. And I think this team is going to accomplish more than any of the other teams that he played on in Chicago because he kind of got there when their dynasty was over. So I'm just happy that Alex DeBrincat is on our team, and I think it's going to make an exponential difference. I mean, you can already see it.
Yeah,
this is a playoff team. It's playoffs or bust.
Yeah, I mean, towards late in the game, it got a little close there. They faced a little adversity. They kept it one goal away, and then, of course, the 2 empty netters kind of secured it away. So, good win for the Red Wings. If you're watching that last night, man, at least you got another team in the city that hopefully will be good sooner than later. I don't know about the Pistons. They're on the way, but the Red Wings are far much ahead. I mean, you see it, and I said this to you before the show, it's a night and day difference. It's a more mature team. You got more veterans and guys, free agents that are making an impact right away. I mean, I'm excited for the Red Wings this season. I really am. It's a playoff team, playoff contender. Michael Gentry could sit there and say, they just have to try, and if they try, maybe they can make it. No, it's a playoff team. They're a good team, Michael. You cover them. You should know that. But in other news, Sam Flannel, I didn't really get a chance because we talked about it, and Lucas missed it. He would have loved yesterday. You bring up the refrigerator.
Yeah.
And you had to go face the administrator of accountability.
Damn.
Darren McCarty.
Oh, yeah.
And you've said this before. This is not your first interaction with Darren, D-Mac.
Yes.
You've called him out before in that sound booth. You went back yesterday. You had a face-to-face with him. He called you a draft ball sniffer.
He did. That was a bar.
He called you. He said you F and F, dumb F. Explain your side of it. How did it go? Are you and D-Mac okay? Is he sending people after you? How's it going?
Oh yeah, I mean me and D-Mac are fine. And for the record, I've never said that Darren McCarty. People always think that I say this wasn't valuable at all to those Stanley Cup teams. Although in 2008 he really wasn't. But you know what? That is all well and good when you score 1 point in the regular season and 2 points in the playoffs. I don't think you're all that valuable. I don't think you deserve a lot of credit for that Stanley Cup. But maybe I'm just a little crazy or something. And I never quite feel like I was able to fully explain the whole D-Mac and William the Refrigerator Perry comparison.
No, there was no comparison.
I think there is.
Okay.
It's role players getting way too much credit and acclaim for their respective teams. Did you guys know, if you go to Chicago right now, William the Refrigerator Perry is the single most popular member of that 85 Bears team, and that is 100% laughable. Darren McCarty, I believe, with those Stanley Cups teams, is the second most popular player after Steve Yzerman, and to me, that is also laughable.
Yeah, but that's
laughable.
But the thing that D-Mac nailed it, and I agreed with him, is the moment, just the moment point he was arguing. Like, I get what you're saying because you're going off straight his statistics, what he did, how much he produced. But you can't deny, like, the moments, the game-winning goal in the Stanley Cup, or the fight
game clinched the insurance goal.
Oh my God!
The insurance goal in Game 4
while
they were already up 3-0 in the series.
Why do you try so hard to belittle it?
Because people act like he scored a game-winning goal in Game 7 in overtime or something like that. It was an insurance goal in Game 4 when they were already up 3-0 in the series. That's facts. You guys can ignore data all you want, but that's facts. It just adds to the lore. And for the record, Darren McCarty, he had a hell of a 97 season, a hell of a 98, was a valuable member of those teams. He gets too much acclaim in this town. That's all I'm saying. Just like William the Refrigerator Perry does in Chicago.
I'll let D-Mac handle that one. I should have sent you the clip. I might have it if we could play it. Let me see.
Of the fridge one? When you guys were texting about it, I was in Barry's Bagels with my brother. And me and my brother, I rewinded the show live, and we were just like... Because my brother grew up a big Wings fan. I'm not the biggest Wings fan in the world, but whether you agree with them or not, you got to give Sam the credit. That takes some nuts to look D-Mac right in the face and say all that. So, agree with them or not, I respect you, Sam, for standing your ground.
Well, it takes a certain... I mean, do you have the graphic? Like...
Oh no! Let me. What's it in?
It's in our morning show Slack. I mean, it's a little edit to kind of describe the type of nuts that Sam Flannel has. Like this man to do that to D-Mac. And by the way, like I get what you're trying to say, even though I disagree with it. And I think D-Mac, you did piss him off. I mean, he was pretty pissed off. You guys were fine after the show, right?
Sure.
He was cool with it. Okay. Because he did kind of look at. Okay, this. If you guys didn't see what happened yesterday, this picture just summarizes it right here. Sam not giving an F with his big balls, and then D-Mac with his 4 cups, and Sam just saying, "Oh, cool. Oh yeah, that's cool. You got 4 cups. That's awesome."
William Perry.
Yeah, William Perry.
I mean, Fridge had 29.5 sacks in his Bears career, by the way. So. I mean, I think they're way more comparable than you guys will ever admit, but that's okay.
But that's the part, though, is D-Mac was an expert at his specific role. I'm not saying, no one's saying D-Mac deserves a statue of his own. I mean, no one was making that argument. But, man, you got balls. I mean, you got balls. Right. Do you have the clip? Let me send it. Yeah, it's sending right now. I want the people to see it in real time if you didn't see it yesterday, because it is worth showing. It's funny as hell. And just to see D-Mac too, like, and D-Mac is the most like down to earth. He never really loses his cool. So when Sam Flannel gets him all flustered and starts saying just a bunch of BS, you could tell he was funny. And Neil's trying to like intervene, and he's like, no, I got this. Patrick says D-Mac set the tone. God damn it, this is annoying for real.
Oh my God.
Chuck Brewer says D-Mac and the grind line were the soul of that team. Stat be damned.
Okay. Can I just say this though? Can we break bread on this? And I know you guys won't because it's me saying this. Especially when it comes to those 97, 98 teams, even more so when it comes to other teams. Darren McCarty was more lucky to play with Steve Yzerman, Nick Lidstrom, Brendan Shanahan, Sergei Fedorov than they were to play with him.
That's not the argument. He would admit that. Has D-Mac ever said those guys are lucky to play with me?
But there are people in the chat that won't admit that. And he also played on probably the greatest team ever assembled in 2002.
No one's arguing he's more valuable than those guys. We're arguing that D-Mac had value in the moments that D-Mac was featured in, a.k.a. the turtling of Claude Lemieux, which was the discussion, which we brought up yesterday with Mike. Like, that moment, everybody, even like my parents, who aren't big hockey fans, they remember that moment. Like, that's why I brought up, like, you can make an argument, well, D-Mac gets too much love. Well, clearly not, if people who aren't fans of hockey know that moment. Like, that's worth the statue to me.
Oh my God, it's a regular season fight.
But you're arguing for D-Mac on his own statue. I get that. Like, I understand that. But you have the clip. All right, play it. Here's the discussion yesterday that went down. Sam Flannel just being a savage.
My point being, you don't understand moments, and you don't understand like how things have to play, which is fine. Right? Because you're a fucking top of the fucking giraffe ball sniffer to whatever else. You said it all. And you're entitled to your opinion, but you said everything when you said you think Nick Foles' career was better than mine.
It was.
I sit here with 4 championships.
4 championships that you wouldn't have won if you didn't get drafted.
See, look at you.
Oh my God.
You lay on MVPs and fucking Super Bowl MVPs. Everything I read in the chat, everything I hear from you, that's your go-to. That's fine. Hall of Fame, that's fine. So don't enter a conversation about moments and fucking role players and whatever else. Because without those moments, you don't see the rest. Because you know what? That's chronologically what history is.
All right.
All right.
Okay,
All right.
and you had 1 point in the 2008 season. That's a fact. That is also a fact. But you get credit for that Stanley Cup. All right, but you get to give yourself credit for that Stanley Cup. Are you kidding me?
I played 17 in the playoffs.
Oh my God!
And I played a role, and my role was to play the best 6 minutes. I don't know if you know
6
this.
minutes! Oh my God! 6 minutes! 6 minutes!
See, that's
you
what
played
I'm
1
saying.
point. You scored 1 point in that season. You get to claim credit for that Stanley Cup.
Got 1 point in there, and I got a goal and assist in the playoffs. And when you play 17 games in the playoffs, you fucking dumb shit, and are part of it, and are on the ice maybe for fucking in game, what was it, game 5 or game 4 when fucking Hoodler scored, which is fucking one of the biggest goals shifting. So you don't understand, Sam, because you're fucking not a role guy.
All right.
You don't understand because you don't appreciate role guys.
You're
You're an Aaron Rodgers motherfucking lover, Patrick Mahomes top guys, all these guys. You disrespect the fuck out of Ben Wallace, which is why if I'm not going to ever fucking hit you for disrespecting me because I don't care enough, right? But disrespecting Ben Wallace is why you might get slapped out of the fandom.
What about
you
this?
Hey, Sam, that's fair.
All right.
You can have your fucking opinion. The Nick Foles thing, that
Flannel.
tells me everything.
Wow. And for this comment, too, because I knew there'd be people that did this, because I have to slap Sam or else people hate me. Someone said, Jeff, why are you trying to make it sound cool what he did? No, I'm not. I actually vehemently disagree with him. But again, he's a grown-ass man, so he can say whatever he wants to say. I can disagree with it. You guys know how I feel. I mean, you know how I feel, Sam Flannel.
Sure.
We don't agree there. But still, it's, if you want to go face D-Mac and say that type of shit, then, go ahead. You just got to live with the consequences.
All right, so let me do a little thought exercise with you guys, and because you guys aren't allowed to say that I'm ridiculous for this, is it okay for then for me to say that McCole Hardman is a 2-time Super Bowl winning champion wide receiver?
Yeah, but that's a terrible comparison.
Yes, it's the exact same thing.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is.
Name me 3 key moments for McCole Hardman to go.
I mean, he had like 1,200 receiving yards in those 2 seasons combined. Moments.
That's one.
Okay.
Or really, okay, name another one.
Okay, and I personally think that both of those teams, they might have still won Stanley Cups and Super Bowls without those respective players.
Yeah, well, now we're doing the what-if game.
Okay, but you guys are going to say that I am insane for saying this when factually McCole Hardman is a 2-time Super Bowl champion.
But what's the point of saying to D-Mac, who is, I get it, a lot of love in this town, he deserves it. The guy's one of the greatest human beings I've ever met. But for you to say something like that, and now you're making the argument, which I don't think D-Mac ever even made, which is, and you're referring to people make the argument, which he was more valuable than Steve Yzerman and the rest of those guys.
No, more popular. Why? It's the same as William the Refrigerator Perry with Chicago.
Because, number one, D-Mac's always been a man of the people. That's just who he is. Like, he's always been a man of the people. So, of course, popularity is different from contributions. But you can't deny that D-Mac was a big part of that team. Now, you can bring up statistics and whatever, but D-Mac already explained it. His role, he was the best at his role. His role wasn't to go out there and be a star. He never, that's the thing with D-Mac. I think that's why you're trying to argue something that D-Mac never even made an argument for.
No, and for the record,
I don't think D-Mac has ever said, what I did was just as valuable as the main guy, as the superstars on that team, all throughout winning cups. In 08, I mean, D-Mac wasn't D-Mac at that point, but regardless, before then, it's just, I don't know. I think you're kind of, at first, I get what you were saying. At first, you were fine. He doesn't deserve a statue. That's fair. But then after that,
You brought up the 08
after that first statement of saying he doesn't deserve a statue, which is fine. I mean, whatever.
But it wasn't fine. You guys lambasted me for it in the chat.
No, you took that statement and went overboard with it.
Okay.
Started disrespecting his 08 season, even though he played in 6 games. And then you brought up, if you watch the clip again, I mean, he said some, whatever. It is what it is. You made fun of he played 6 minutes in the whatever. It is what it is, Sam. You said it. It's done. But again, Sam's a grown-ass man. I'm not going to make him think a certain way. You can think however you want to think. That's fair.
And for the record,
I just disagree with it.
I don't have any personal animus to Darren McCarty or him as a player or anything like that. It's the idol worshipers that all of you guys are in the chat. Darren McCarty was a very fine member of, I would say, certainly 2 of those teams. You could argue 3, not 08. I am never going to give him 08, but that's fine. We'll never agree on that. 97, 98, hella valuable. 2002 played on probably the greatest assemblage of talent in NHL history. It's just the idol worshiping. I don't understand it when it comes to a role player, but that's kind of the city of Detroit. Detroit loves their role players. They do. It's unique almost to this town.
It's almost like role players are important.
Role players are important, but they're not as important as Hall of Famers. They're not as important as Hall of Famers.
Has D-Mac ever made that argument?
No, but people in the chat will literally make that to me right now.
Who are these people in the chat that are saying that role players are more important than Hall of Famers?
Let's just let's wait a second. Let's wait a second.
I mean, that's what I'm not understanding. Like, again, at first it was D-Mac doesn't deserve a statue. Now it's people are saying that he's more valuable than any of the other players, the Hall of Famers on that team. Now I don't know. There's a little bit of a disconnect here. His job was to enforce, be a protector of the top players. He did that at a high level. That was his role, and I think that's why he was pissed at you, because you don't understand that he had a specific role. He was never meant to be this superstar. He just embraced his role, and that's why I think people appreciate D-Mac. Like, he's D-Mac.
And he played his role to perfection in 97 and 98.
Why couldn't you start with that?
Okay.
The man just trashes him. He's like, well, he did play his role, very well in 97, 98. Well, that should have been first, Sam Flannel. Damn it.
All right.
Damn it. All right. Landon, wow, he's agreeing with you here. D-Mac is overrated. Okay, we're not even going to start with he
is overrated as a player, not as a person, not as my friend. 100% he is. Okay. As a player, not as a person, not as a friend, but as a player. I believe so.
The thoughts of Sam Flannel do not reflect the thoughts of Jeff Iafrate on this Morning Woodward show. But I appreciate you, Sam. But even Lucas, he's not even a big hockey guy, and he's
I'm bewildered.
Yeah, bewildered.
I like Jeff's point. I don't know enough about hockey to be like up in arms and disagree. I can say that I disagree on a little bit of that, just to the level that it went to. But Flannel, regardless of what people say in the chat, I respect you for having an opinion. And when push came to shove, you had to face the noise. You did. You didn't break. So I got to respect that about you at least.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's see. 3-on-3 Kurt, Jeff lame to cuz out of all the comments, he picked that one. No, I'm just saying there's one comment that agree with him out of all the 600 plus in here that disagree with him. So that's what I'm saying. He doesn't have the popular opinion, but it is what it is. It is his opinion, whether you like it or not. I do not agree with it, but it is what it is. Let's go to break. When we get back, we'll talk about Jared Goff contract extensions. He spoke about it yesterday. Matt Broder was in the flesh. He was talking to him. So we'll get his opinion on that. Of course, Dan, speaking about the injuries, we'll talk about all that stuff. But of course, John Macaroon joining the show 8:30. Breakdown Lions versus Ravens. We have 2 interviews today. Kool-Aid joining us in the second hour to break down some Pistons stuff. He was there yesterday. It'll be a lot of fun. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Hamlin Pub. Let's tell you about them. Have you ever wanted to be at a bar where you're known as a regular? Well, we have just a place for you. It's the Hamlin Pub. They got 7 locations, and you can experience where everyone's a regular. You join the Woodward Sports Live, the post-game show this Sunday at Hamlin Pub, I believe in Rochester. Go check that out. Stick Maz and more will be there to break down the Lions vs. Ravens game. We'll see you for their live show from Hamlin Pub in Rochester this Sunday. Experience your new favorite pub for all things sports.
And Glorious? Tell us about Glorious, Hefe.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Glorious, because, guys, after this Sunday, you're going to be smoking on that Ravens pack. I'm just telling you right now. Tomorrow we'll be at Dispo. Maybe we can indulge in some Glorious cannabis. Check it out. It's the new Honolulu Blue strain, ice water. And you see the bottle, just a clean design. Got a lion on it. Come on. If you're a Lions fan, why aren't you smoking this? Our friends over at Glorious Cannabis. Head over to Dispo, use code Woodward, and maybe get a little bit off your order over at Glorious Cannabis.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Hey, this is Mr. Kearney. Chief Academic Officer, Academy of Warren. I want to welcome you to the brand new field house. The state-of-the-art facility has a regulation basketball court, volleyball court, soccer field. It can be used for 7-on-7 football. Our K-8 academic features AM, PM, latchkey, small classroom sizes, learning street, futuristic media center, free breakfast and lunch, Houghton Mifflin curriculum, academic games, K-8 athletics, and more. Enroll today at academywarren.net.
Join Woodward Sports and Long Drink live every home game for the official Lions VIP tailgate party. It's at Eastern Market in Shed number 5, and it is always a bash, starting at 9:30 a.m. until game time. The official Lions tailgate is back and better than ever. How would you like to pregame it with Woodward Sports and be treated like a VIP? Food, beverages, and entertainment all included. Get your tickets online today at bullseyeeventgroup.com or win some from Woodward Sports today. Just subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on IG, and direct message Lions VIP.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. A lot more to get to. Lions, Jared Goff, contract extension. And Lucas, you weren't here the last 2 days, but we talked more about Jared, his MVP odds. And, you know, you were there when I kind of came around, finally threw up the white flag and just said, you know what, pay the man. He deserves it. He deserves it. We got some footage, though, courtesy of our good friend, Matt Broder, Woodward Nights, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., who also covers the Detroit Lions. And he got to speak to Jared Goff a little bit about different things. And you guys are going to want to take a listen to this.
Yeah, I certainly took my lumps and learned I learned what it took to lose, you know, and how easy it is to lose if you don't do the right things, and how good our league is. And learned a lot about myself and grew through that, and was able to overcome it. I got here after 4 years of starting, and now I'm in my 7th year starting, and I wish I could give you something specific other than just reps and just seeing things more than once, and being very familiar with what we're doing on offense and settling in as a player and getting better and maturing and learning and the whole thing. That's really what it comes down to. And I'd still like to think I'm relatively young in the league. I'm, again, in my 7th year starting, still in my 20s, hanging on to that for one more year. So, it's you know, hopefully I can look back at this point and say I've learned so much more 5 years from now.
Is it just me, or is it like when I look at Jared, and even when he first got here, like the fact that he was 7? He's 28, now he's 29. Like you'd think he's like 30.
Yeah, when he was like
he's still young.
When he's like, I'm in my 7th season, it kind of puts stuff in perspective where you're like, wow, this guy still has a lot of football left in the tank.
Yeah.
And he's probably hasn't even played his best football yet.
Yeah, no, a lot of good football. I mean, speaking of that, he's playing his best football right now. He just won NFC Offensive Player of the Week, which is big time. And this was just announced yesterday. There you go. There's the graphic, courtesy of Woodward Sports. NFC Offensive Player of the Week. Yeah, you see it correctly. It's Jared Thomas Goff. That's who won it. And he deserved it. We talked a lot about what that game entailed of. I mean, you have no run game in the second half. Really no run game at all. Even when David was in there, they were struggling. And no run game, no problem. 2 offensive out, 2 offensive linemen out, no problem. Jared Goff, he took care of business. Obviously with the help of Amon-Ra St. Brown, but Jared was dotting up and had over 300 yards passing, over 40 pass attempts, and still completed like 30 of them. So for Jared in the extension talks, and they asked Dan about that specifically as well, and I think Dan had a great answer to 2 things. One, about his MVP odds, because I'm telling you, throw a couple dollars on it. I said it a couple days ago, because if he beats the Ravens this week, they're going to increase. But they asked Dan Campbell, Eric Woodyard, and I believe it was Paula Paschke. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. That's my bad. But she tweeted out lines to Dan Campbell when asked about the extension for Goff. All I can tell you is he's playing at a high level and he needs to be with us, because he didn't want to get into any of the other stuff. He even said it. I'm not addressing that. It's for Brad Holmes. But I can tell you, and you see the end of that, he needs to be with us. Key part. Dan Campbell doesn't want a rookie quarterback. I think that's what that's telling me. He wants Jared Goff playing at this level. And then, of course, they asked him, Eric Woodyard, about I don't know if it was Eric Woodward, but he was asked about his MVP odds, and he says, quote, "I don't know what an MVP is or isn't these days, but he's playing at a very high level." So, yeah, there you go. Dan Campbell, big Jared Goff guy. I think that's for sure. Now, for Jared, though, the extension stuff, I don't know, because if I'm Jared, you got to look at it from both sides, Sam Flannel. If I'm Brad Holmes, I want to get the deal done sooner than later. But if I'm Jared Goff, I kind of want to wait, because that price is only going to go up depending on how Jared feels. If Jared wants to take a team-friendly deal, of course he'll get it done sooner than later. But if Jared wants to get paid, and he has an advantage here, just wait. keep balling, go to the playoffs. If you win a playoff game, this team is going to pay you a lot of money. So I don't know how Brad's going to handle it, but if I'm Brad, I'm trying to get that deal done ASAP before the price keeps increasing there.
Yeah, and of course, to piggyback off of everything, all the praise that we've been giving Jared Goff for his game at Tampa Bay, and ultimately for his season, he ends up winning NFC Offensive Player of the Week, and that 100% was deserved. And I think that validates a lot of our sentiments. Myself, I heard Spencer Raxter on Big D Energy, even you to some extent, Jeff, that game was almost like a turning point. I'm not saying that Jared Goff wasn't great before, but that was one where you just had to tip your cap. No running game, had complete command of the offense, probably had one of the most impressive performances by a quarterback, which resulted in your team only scoring 20 points. And that's one where even I will have to admit that if you didn't watch the game, you didn't quite understand how valuable that Jared Goff was. It seemed like every single third down he was hitting Amon-Ra St. Brown, hitting Josh Reynolds, and even when it came to hitting the big one, even though it wasn't a perfect throw, he hit J-Mo for a deep ball to really kind of give the game's kill shot. And I mean, you're right. It depends on what Jared Goff wants. Does he want to maximize his value? Does he want to make as much money as he possibly can? Then yeah, it would probably behoove him to wait until the offseason to... especially if the Lions win a playoff game, he probably will be within his right to ask for a contract in which he makes $50 million a year. In a perfect world, I would want something less than that. I'd want something more like 45 AAV, and if they got that done tomorrow, I would be cool with it. I would actually be ecstatic at this point. But if you're Jared Goff, I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks making a lot of money like Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray who aren't really doing anything right now. And don't get me wrong, you don't want to use them as a gauge because they are tremendously overpaid, but that's not their fault, and that's not Jared Goff's fault that he can demand for what he feels like he deserves. And at this point, if he wins a playoff game in Detroit and plays well and maybe is a MVP candidate until the season is over, how can you not ask for $50 million?
Yeah, I mean, I can't blame him. I mean, you got Daniel Jones making 40 and he stinks. You got Russell Wilson making 40-ish. He stinks. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's as much as you want to talk from a Lions fan perspective and be like, man, he'll take a discount, which I 100% hope he does. But let's be real here. If I'm Jared, why the hell am I taking less than Russell Wilson? I want to win, but at the same time, that man, he's got to get his bag, and I respect it. Jordan says, Jeff, I think he would be willing to take a team-friendly deal. Even if not, we can front-load it with our cap space and still be fine in the future. You are correct there. I'm curious what Jared's intentions are. I don't know. He seems like a guy, Lucas, that would take a short-term, maybe a discount deal. But at the same time, I can't blame the man for wanting to get paid.
No, you can't blame him, but I feel like everyone in that locker room knows what the deal is with Detroit and Brad Holmes when it comes to contracts, especially with extensions. Brad Holmes is not going to be throwing around crazy bread, but if he's going to spend it on one person, I'd be more than willing for it to be on a successful winning quarterback. There's no more valuable position in sports than the quarterback position, so the fact that you have a guy who has resurrected his career in Detroit, he's going to want to stay here. That's one thing you can check off. Jared Goff wants to be here, so that's what they have going for him. To your guys' point, if Jared Goff goes and wins a wild card divisional, NFC Championship, Super Bowl, etc., the price is just going to keep going up and up and up, but pay it. I really as long as it's under $58 million, I do not care.
50.
I'm saying the extreme. The most that I think they would offer him is $55, $58 million. And at that point, $50 million? It comes down to this. Are you comfortable with overpaying for Jared Goff, or are you more comfortable with hoping that Hendon Hooker works out and can rebuild this to the same point that it's at right now? Because if Hendon Hooker is a starting quarterback in 2-3 years, regardless, I don't care what it is. I don't care if he's been sitting. No quarterback is able to step into the Detroit Lions offense right now, especially with no Ben Johnson or learning from Ben Johnson and take them to where they are at right now. So it's one of those things where it's today's price is not yesterday's price, and if you just got to pay the piper, man. Sometimes you just have to do it.
And you look at the risk involved in doing that with Hendon Hooker, because even I love Hendon Hooker. When we drafted him, cool, excited, a lot of potential there. But then you also have to be realistic and think, Sam, that if you were to start, let's just say Brad Holmes is thinking to himself, you know what, we'll ride with Jared Goff this year, and then maybe even next year, and then we'll trade him, or we'll get rid of him and we'll start Hendon. You're essentially going to waste prime years of some guys, right? In guys that are on rookie contracts. You have to capitalize. They're in a win-now mode right now. They're contending right now. They're Super Bowl contenders right now. I just don't think, especially if Hendon starts and he struggles and it takes him a year or two to get it together, the Lions don't have time to do that. Like, that's my struggle now. Like, unless the coaching staff and Dan is seeing Hendon Hooker and they're like, man, he can run this offense and be damn good at it, and he's on a rookie contract, I just don't think that's going to happen. I think right now with where the expectations are, the excitement around the city, the Lions are a contender, it doesn't make sense to all of a sudden just be like, you know what, we're going to go to our rookie quarterback. Like, or would be second-year quarterback or third-year quarterback. It makes no sense. You got a guy right now who's a top 5 quarterback who can who solidifies you as a contender, and he's in the MVP conversation to some extent. There's no reason to get rid of Goff or move on from Goff.
Let me just give a quick devil's advocate.
He's your best option.
Because Lucas, I know you kind of went to the extreme end of the pendulum.
I was just saying, like, I don't think that will be the deal, but I'm just saying, like, Jared Goff is going to make a lot more money than people expect, and people hear $50 million and they just start quivering. It's like, you realize Daniel Jones got paid $40 last year, right? So somebody's getting paid $50 this year. Next year, somebody's getting paid $60. The year after that, somebody's getting paid $70. That's just the way the market goes. It goes up every year.
Yeah, no, and that is 100% fair. It's just, I do think to some extent, because it is a cap league, that the fact that Jared Goff's contract is very, very team-friendly as of right now, and he is signed through next season, I do think that has helped the Lions to be able to assemble a better roster around him and has given them maybe the flexibility to extend other guys like Amon-Ra and Panay and Aiden Hutchinson when it's all said and done. I'm not saying that they can't do that and pay Jared Goff, but at the same time, I still cringe a little bit at a $50 million average annual value. I just said that if they wait, that's probably what they're gonna have to pay him.
Here's my thing, Sam, and the biggest thing with Jared, and this is why I've kind of turned the corner with Jared. Okay. And with the help of Lucas, I had to sit and in a confession booth, and I had to talk to you a little bit, and we got through it. Okay. My thing is Jared. The narrative for Jared was he's a quarterback you can win with, not win because of. Mm-hmm. The reason why I'm down to pay him is he's starting to become a guy you can win because of.
Looks like it.
That's why it's different. Because if, to your point, Sam, would I be willing to pay, like Daniel Jones is someone you can win with. All right, I'm not paying a guy.
Can you even do that?
Well, if everything goes perfectly, you might be able to win with him, not win because of Daniel Jones. Now, look, like Tyrod Taylor almost beat the Bills last week. Just saying. But anyway, that's where I struggle, because now we're giving a chunk of money to a guy that we can't win because of. Jared's changing that narrative. That's why I'm more comfortable.
Fair.
You're not going to be able to pay anybody anyway. You want to keep the main core of players. Of course, you want to keep a Penei Sewell. You want to keep an Amon-Ra St. Brown. But, like, you're going to have to get rid of somebody. It's just how it is. And to Lucas's point, it's about on Brad and how he structures the contract. If you front load it and you have money available in later years to extend other guys, like, there's so many things. It's like a Neil Rule question to break down that cap. But I think it's possible. I don't think Jared's going to want to set a record for how much he gets paid, so I think it's fair. If you can win because of Goff, which you just saw last Sunday, I'm willing to pay him. Because Hendon, I don't know what Hendon is. I only know him off college, which he's a terrific player before the ACL injury. But I'm not willing to risk all these expectations because of a rookie contract for a quarterback. Like, that's a risk. Yeah. Unless you're getting like a rookie who's you're getting a CJ Stroud or maybe this year with Caleb Williams. Like, those guys, I get it, but Hendon, we really don't know. It's a toss up.
Yeah, and the other thing is like people freak out and they're like, oh my God, how are we going to keep Kirby Joseph? How are we going to keep X person? How are we going to keep X person? And I'm not discarding how important those players are. But if you tell me you'd rather have the two people, I'll go 3. Amon-Ra, Hutch, and St. Brown. Or I already said St. Brown. And Panay. Sorry. If you keep those 3, and you can keep Goff too at the same time. Every other person you're gonna name on the roster is not more valuable than Jared Goff to this team. I'm sorry. Like,
not right now. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, and it's not discarding those people, but Jared Goff is playing like a top 5 quarterback. Go tell me a guy that can do that right now with this team. That's on this team. You think Hendon Hooker can be a top 5 quarterback right now?
No, it's going to take some time, and I don't think they have time. You're in a win now mode.
I mean, listen to what Jared just said in that video. He's like, I'd like to say it's something, but it's just reps. Experience, that's what's making me better. That is the most important thing in an NFL quarterback, and just act like you can plug in a quarterback that has all that. Jared Goff has played in a Super Bowl against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. I don't care if he won or lost. The fact that he has that experience goes a long way when you're talking about rebuilding a culture, rebuilding a team. And now, like you said, he's lost a lot in Detroit.
Right.
He knows what it takes to win now. So that's the thing where it's like, this guy knows how to win. He's found confidence. He has a lot of experience. If you replace that and you're just going on a wing, that right there, that's some same old Lion shit where you're just like, yeah, we can do it.
Yeah, and it backfires. Imagine. It backfires
that's
too.
That's some same old Lion shit right there where you're just like, no, we're good. We're good. We don't need Jared Goff.
Like, we do content in the city, so, like, you know, it'd be content, but I would not like that. If you went to Hendon and it backfired, the amount of oh my gosh, and you let Jared go somewhere else and he's still playing at a high level. Yeah, you want to keep this man in Detroit. Let's go to break. When we get back, we'll talk to John Macaroon, our good friend, the Doc. It's Thursdays with John Macaroon. Thursdays with the Doc. He's going to give us some of that Lions medicine today. We're going to get into this upcoming game this Sunday. We'll ask him some different questions. But first, we got to read our friends over at Premier Pet.
Oh, of course, Premier Pet. When it comes to your pet, don't settle. I certainly don't settle when it comes to my golden retriever, Jake, and my orange cat, Milo. I give them the best, and you should give your pet the best. Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Family owned and operated for over 30 years. 13 Metro Detroit locations. Over 60 brands of food, lowest prices, and curbside home delivery. Premier Pet Supply, give your pet the best. Visit their website at premierpetsupply.com.
Calling all landscapers. This is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like to landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. Whether you landscape for your job or landscape for fun, get all your equipment from Outdoor Equip Co., the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan grown, family owned. OutdoorEquipCo.com.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel. Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
How would you like to win a 100K Vegas getaway? Take your friends and live it up in the city that never sleeps. It's the Centron Energy Drink It and Live It sweepstakes. Purchase a 24-pack today and enter for your chance to win. Register at drinkcentron.com/Vegas and buy Centron at your local Meijer store. Centron, the healthier energy drink with great taste. Look good, feel great, and be the best version of yourself. Once again, that website, drinkcentron.com/Vegas.
We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show. We got a special guest joining us Thursdays with John Macaroon, the Doc, publisher of All Lions, and does great work. He's always at Allen Park. He's working hard. And he's with us. He's blessed us with his presence. Welcome to the show, John. Thanks for joining us. I want to ask you first, before we get into all the other stuff, because there are some storylines I want to get to. First, your reaction off of this past Sunday, what the Lions did, what Jared Goff did, no run game first half, essentially no run game second half, and that man had a hell of a performance earning NFC Offensive Player of the Week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what have you guys been talking about just before I came on?
Can you hear him?
You want to see Jared Goff help this football team win games, and he was able to do that even without David Montgomery. I thought when he went down, I thought that was going to make the day a lot more challenging. But guess what? Jared Goff had a performance in that first half and throughout the game that was really stellar, and I think opened a lot more people's eyes regarding just how valuable he is to this football team. And if he plays at that level, now we're talking about a lot more elevated goals, not just winning the division, but winning multiple playoff games. So it was a big game on the road against a team that was scheming against a team with a solid defense that was scheming to stop your offense. And to play at that level, crisp, and to launch one to JMO, I think put a lot of people in a great mood looking at and evaluating Jared Goff and his future here in Detroit.
All right, John, so this is obviously going into Baltimore, probably one of the tougher matchups on paper for the Detroit Lions. What is something that the Ravens can do that could potentially give the Lions some trouble? I feel like I ask you this question every week, but I think it's always relevant.
It's very relevant, and I think it kind of ties into the talk about Jared Goff and paying him all this money. The Ravens get after the quarterback. They are a team that has multiple players that can get to the quarterback. I was just watching film before I hopped on, and I was like, oh, my goodness. Jared Goff is going to be, the offensive line this week is going to have to step up, play a little bit better than they did against Tampa Bay, because while the Tampa Bay defense is not as good, while the Baltimore defense is stellar, their offense is not as great. So I think that if the Lions offensive line can block for Jared Goff, now you got a quarterback that can do things, because any quarterback in this league that gets pressured, they don't like it. And especially Jared Goff, because basically he's a sitting duck. So if the Ravens get after it and they dial up their blitzes and they dial up a lot of pressure and the offensive line does not play as well, there's going to be an issue. And that's the big thing in the playoffs. When you get to the postseason, you're going to face amazing defenses and you're going to face a pressure that is really, really tough to overcome. So for Jared Goff, he passed a great test against Tampa Bay. Now the next one on the road again against Baltimore, I think is going to be another great opportunity to see where Jared Goff's at. And I think he's going to play well. But, man, that Baltimore defense, they're going to get after it.
And John, too, with the whole Jahmyr Gibbs thing, because, John, that's why I love you, because you were in the chat, you were giving your opinion on the Jahmyr Gibbs. You know how I feel, but I want to ask you at least an update on Jahmyr, if he's going to be available, what's his workload going to look like? I know the Lions, they brought in Mo Ibrahim back to the practice squad, but what should we expect out of Jahmyr? Because if he's healthy, to me, John, I know he's got a lingering injury, and I don't know the extent of it, but this should be a game where Jahmyr gets a more heavy workload, is it not?
Man, what was wild was Wednesday was a walkthrough, and we get the injury report at 4 o'clock, and guess whose name's on there? Craig Reynolds. He's dealing with a hamstring and a toe situation. So you look at it and you go, man, the Lions running back situation has some problems, has some issues. But it was good to see. Dan Campbell did say that he felt a lot better about Jahmyr Gibbs being able to play this week. But guys, here's the thing, and here's the tough part. You hope, first and foremost, that Craig Reynolds is healthy, because you need a running back to carry the bulk of the load. And that's what David Montgomery was brought here to do. Jahmyr Gibbs was not going to play this year and be a guy that was going to get 20 carries a game. What was talked about with Jahmyr Gibbs was being a complimentary back, a change of pace back, like an Alvin Kamara, who can get the ball in space and create. Well, that hasn't happened yet. And he's kind of experiencing what happens to rookies, learning that he's not the fastest player on the field. An average linebacker can catch up with him. The speed of the NFL does take time to get used to. And if you guys go to games, you see just how fast space closes. You think there's a 2-yard window. 1 second later, boom, the guy's on you. So Jahmyr Gibbs has to learn to follow and trust what the coaching staff tells him so that he's able to execute at a higher level. And what the Lions have kind of showed is they take time with their players that are younger. And I don't think that you want to give them 15 to 20 carries, but what Jahmyr Gibbs does got to be utilized a lot more in space. We got to see what he was brought here to do. Obviously, I think that he can be a weapon. He can be a part of this offense. But guys, you saw it. Jared Goff is spreading the football to 10 different dudes. So while I know everybody that plays fantasy, that wants to see Jahmyr Gibbs light it up, I think you just got to ease him in there steadily, get him out there in space and screen passes and a couple of change of pace runs. But I think if Craig Reynolds is healthy, you give him the bulk of the carries, see what he's about, and keep it moving forward. And I'll be interested to see who they call up again this week, if it's Ozigbo or if it's Mohamed Ibrahim. So it'll be interesting to see. But Jahmyr Gibbs, you guys can't run him into the ground. Right now, he's still a rookie that's learning his way through, and I don't think you're putting him in the best position to succeed by throwing him out there and making him the number one running back.
So, is this When it comes to this Lions team, we already know that going into Tampa Bay and winning was a big win. I think it gave some people who were even a little bit on the fence about this team being a Super Bowl contender. They watched them play that game and were very, very impressed. What happens if they actually go into Baltimore, despite all of the injuries that they've suffered and maybe having to see a heavy dose of a guy like Craig Reynolds at running back? How high and how far can this team actually go?
Yeah, it's a great time, guys. First and foremost, I wake up today and what do I see? I see J-Mo at Little Caesars Arena, and his reaction from a football player was great. He's like, look at that. They scored a goal with nobody in net. He seemed excited, and he seemed to be in awe of what was going on. Seeing J-Mo hit the horn lit up the morning for me. It was great to see. Look, right now, Lions have taken over the country. People are talking about this 5-1 football team, especially when you see the massive block that Craig Reynolds threw. I talked to Tracy Walker about his booming hit against Chris Godwin, and you see a football team that I think that if they have a really good chance to defeat the Ravens. I think that they are a gritty football team, the Lions themselves, and I hope to see more of the Blue Sea out there at Baltimore. This team, guys, when you have a quarterback playing at the level of Jared Goff, you have an offensive line that's now ranked number 1 by PFF. You got a defensive line that's scary, led by Aiden Hutchinson, and an interior with Aleem McNeil and Isaiah Buggs, and a violent secondary that wants to lay the lumber on people. When you have those kind of pieces, and I think that there's a mindset that they truly believe it's Detroit versus everybody. When you have that mindset of, look what everybody thought about us in 2021. Look at the collection of talent. A lot of cast-offs, a lot of players on that roster that, like a Josh Reynolds, who people thought, oh, Josh Reynolds, you're just a number 2 or a number 3 receiver. You know, maybe you're just a guy that's a role player who some radio hosts just want to talk trash about. They look at that and they say, no, we can contribute. We can play at a very high level, and Josh Reynolds can be a guy that every time he touches the football, it's a first down or a touchdown. They can be a collection of guys that can come together where the entire whole is bigger than the sum of its parts. And I realized, man, this is a good football team. And if they can get to 6-1, now maybe you put another wrinkle, another valuable tape out there for Brad Holmes to maybe want to add more to this football team. So these next 2 games are huge, especially with the trade deadline looming.
And Lucas here, happy to have you back on the show. The ball knower, talking to another ball knower, of course. Looking at this Ravens offense, Lamar Jackson, the Lions obviously have struggled against mobile quarterbacks in the past. Now they have Justice Hill, Gus Edwards. I don't think they're going to have any trouble handling them, but then you kind of look. Mark Andrews, Lions kind of struggle against tight ends. Zay Flowers, a very explosive rookie who can do things after the catch, so if you miss a tackle, he can make you pay. And even a guy like Odell Beckham, a veteran. Who do you think needs to step up for this Lions defense in order for them to kind of contain Baltimore's offense and come out of there with the W?
Yeah, it's great. Dan Campbell was asked, how tough is it going to be to stop Lamar Jackson? First and foremost, you got to contain. You got to keep Lamar Jackson in that pocket. He is passing a little bit more, but he's still a 1,000-yard runner potentially, still a guy that's very athletic that can wreck a defense. So it's obviously, I think it's going to be key for those linebackers, Derek Barnes and Alex Anzalone, to continue to play at a high level. When you look at what the Lions have been able to do, Alex Anzalone's having a career year, flying around, breaking up plays. Really, I think what has happened is once he got his contract, he got more comfortable that, hey, I can be more comfortable to fly around to the football. I can play in coverage. I can be around and be somebody that can stop the football, run towards the quarterback. And I think that the pairing with Derek Barnes has really been something to look at. When you watch the film, you realize, oh, my goodness, they set the tone for the defense. Outside of the linebackers, man, I want to see continued great play from Cam Sutton and Jerry Jacobs. I think the duo combined is really doing a lot of good things in regards to, okay, if they give up reception, they're tackling at a high level and not allowing significant amount of yards after the catch. So I look to the linebackers this week to have a solid performance and maybe even a breakout performance this week by Jack Campbell.
Thanks so much, John, for joining the show. Again, you guys can catch John. He's the publisher of All Lions and, of course, the host of the Detroit Sports Podcast. It will be Thursdays with John Macaroon, a very valued member of the Morning Woodward Show program. Appreciate you, Doc, for joining, and good luck this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely, Sam. Good luck to you battling Darren McCarty. I know Darren, and I love the fact that you have the your opinion regarding role players. But look, I'll say this. A lot of role players can definitely rise up and make plays, and they will this week. Look for an unsung hero maybe to even make another play for the Lions in their win over the Ravens. Khalif Raymond, Sam Laporta doing their thing. Role players, while they don't get all the headlines, they make the engine purr, baby. And just because Darren McCarty wasn't a guy that lit up the stat sheet, don't discount what he valued, what he brought to the Red Wings. That was a heartbeat guy. And listen, grind line, go watch the tape of what they brought to the Red Wings, and you'll see why they won 4 cups, baby.
I mean, that's 100% fair and all. I only want to hear to you. I only want to hear from you, John Macaroon, and to you, Vitriolic Carnage. He can only be referred to from now on as Super Bowl champion Kadarius Toney.
Oh my God!
He had a big punt return to set him up set up a 3-yard touchdown drive. So
John, he heard role player. You mentioned role player for this Sunday, and he started tripping out. You know, he doesn't like the word role player. He doesn't. It's not his thing. But again, John, like Lucas said, ball nowhere. So we appreciate you for joining. And you can catch John every single week on the show on Thursdays. We'll go to break now. When we come back, of course, we'll get into a little more Lions, and then we'll get Kool-Aid at 9 o'clock joining the show. But first, we got to hear about our friends over at Planet Fitness. Let me tell you about them, guys. Planet Fitness, the home of the judgment-free zone, where anybody, and I mean anybody, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, it's a full-body workout, and of course, just 30 minutes for all memberships includes fitness training. You'll get all this for just $10 a month, no commitment. Our friends over at Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Come hang with the Woodward Sports Crew this weekend for our Michigan State, and Lions watch-along party featuring different special guests and surprises. Tune in on Saturday and Sunday on the Woodward Sports YouTube channel at game time.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White & Associates, you can cancel at any time for any reason without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
Let me tell you about our friends over at the Academy of Warren, because listen, all the features that is included at the Academy of Warren is worth every single penny. They got small classroom sizes, futuristic media center, free breakfast and lunch, academic games, and so much more. And don't forget, for the athletes out there, they got a sports dome field house that features a regulation basketball court, of course a volleyball court, and a soccer field that can also be used for 7-on-7 football. All that accepting new enrollment over at theacademyofwarren.net. You don't want that smoke.
I do.
Okay.
So I said I'm waiting.
Okay. Our friends over at the Academy of Warren. Oh, my goodness. John Macaroon, the doc, giving Sam a little taste of his own medicine, huh? Coming after you a little bit,
man. It is me against the entire city of Detroit. I guess when you guys are idolaters and treat like Darren McCarty like an idol and a god, then you can't say one bad thing about him or one slightly critical thing about him.
Technically,
or else you lose your minds.
Well, you know what? It's because we all just disagree with you. But guess what? We have a guest here. Hey. Special guest, Detroit Kool-Aid, a.k.a. Brandon Dent, the man, the myth, joining us. Of course, he covers the Detroit Pistons for the Woodward Sports Network. Yes, number one, Kool-Aid, how you doing today, man? How you feeling?
I'm doing good, man. I'm feeling good. This show, it always wakes me up, man. Morning Woodward show. You guys are doing big things here. And it's good to see Lucas back.
Yeah, no, we got the ball knower.
Oh yeah.
The football IQ in the room just went up a little bit when Lucas came in today. I want your reaction because we got a little bit of time. We'll get into the Pistons at 9 o'clock, but I just want to chop it up with you real quick. What'd you think about Sam Flannel, man, yesterday with his DMAC comments? Because
I was in the building.
You are a man of the people. You were in the sound booth.
Yes, sir.
On top of that, you know the city of Detroit. You know the impact. You know a guy like Darren McCarty. You grew up. You knew all about it. Your reaction to Sam's opinion there?
Growing up, we didn't know Darren McCarty was a role player. We thought he was the man. Just straight up. Like, seeing him play, and I was one of the few in my school at Inkster that was watching the Redwings. in elementary school, I remember the first game my mom took me to, Darren McCarty was all over the ice, man. And I don't believe that some of those championships are possible without the contributions that he made. So it's like, I told Sam yesterday, like, Darren McCarty, give him that statue, man. Give him that Claude Lemieux statue.
Yeah, because that's the thing. That's the thing, is it's not an individual D-Mac statue. It would be the Claude Lemieux moment. And it's not like this is going to happen. It was all just kind of, we were just chopping it up. But still, Sam Flannel, man, him against the entire city and maybe even the state of Michigan.
Well, standing on business.
Can we break bread a little bit, guys? If you want to give that, Darren McCarty turtling Claude Lemieux a statue, fine. But I want to see a Stevie one first. I want to see a Lidstrom one first, and I want to see a Sergey one first. Is that fair?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
See, that's the thing. Like Sam and I told you this. Like you were fine by just stating D-Mac doesn't deserve a statue. Like that's fine. But then you just whatever happened after that was just out of pocket.
Flannel was waiting for a time to use those stats.
I was about to say, he had them in the chamber.
And Denver Blair in the chat literally just compared D-Mac to Rob Gronkowski, which is the most ignorant thing I think has ever been spewed in this chat. Rob Gronkowski is arguably the best tight end to ever play NFL football. I'd put him second after Travis Kelce. But that's the type of stuff I'm talking about.
You mean third after Sam Laporta?
Lucas is like, yup.
Got him!
Yup. It's actually Lagoda. Legally changed his name.
La Hall of Famer.
Yep, La Hall of Famer. That is what they say.
It was good entertainment, though, man. Sam held his own.
It's all like, again, like D-Mac, and this is why I love D-Mac, is because I never see him get mad at all, like, considering what he did in the NHL. Like, it's very weird, but he's a very different person. And to see him call Sam an F and F and dumb F, I mean, like that, you just don't see that on a D-Mac, man. You just don't.
I was halfway out the booth, like, am I gonna have to break up a hockey fight? Like, where's my referee shirt, man? We got the glass here. Like, both of you guys go to your booth.
Yeah, Sam, throw the gloves. Sam would have been running, just like anybody would. Yeah, no one's trying to get that smoke with D-Mac. Like I say all the time, me and Neil, I'll take the smoke from Neil. I don't want any smoke with D-Mac. I will go the other way. I'm not opening that door. But Neil Rule, I got something against you, my man. We got war. We got unfinished business to deal with. I actually might have Neil on Monday Night Football on the Lions pregame show. So yeah, for people who want to tune into that, man, it's gonna be a war. It's gonna be a war on Monday night
against the winner and Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, the winner.
Oh, the Matt Broder's favorite winner. Yeah. Jimmy G called him a winner. Okay.
The luckiest playoff quarterback of all time. Have you seen some of those stat lines and those wins?
Oh, yeah, it was bad. I think he currently leads the NFL in interceptions, doesn't he?
Probably. Brian Hoyer just got a dub with them, so it doesn't show that much.
Wow. We're at that point right now. Brian Hoyer.
Brian Hoyer's picking up W's.
Yeah,
against Bill Belichick, too.
Yeah, that's big time. Let's go to break here. When we come back, we'll chop it up with Kool-Aid. We'll get into some Pistons stuff, some expectations, talk about some different players. They've been meeting with the media, so we'll get into all that. Let's hear from our friends over at Swiss Insurance, though, first, Sam Flannel.
Of course. Do you have football on the brain? Fall ushers in college and professional football, and this year has been pretty damn awesome. Fall is also a perfect time to shop your home and auto insurance. Shop it like a pro with Swiss Insurance. They cover Woodward Sports Network, and they should be covering you, too. Ask for Mark at Swiss Insurance today at swissins.com or call 248-800-4177. Again, that is 248-800-4177. Swiss Insurance. And after you buy insurance, what can you buy next?
You buy a brand new car over at Feldman, because I'm telling you right now, Feldman dealership, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer. They got 18 locations. There's a Feldman in your backyard. We'll be there this Monday. Excuse me, I just died. To break down the Lions versus Ravens game. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be down there. And since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. Go check it out. Our friends over at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealership.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel. Sports crew this weekend for our Michigan State, and Lions watch-along party featuring different special guests and surprises. Tune in on Saturday and Sunday on the Woodward Sports YouTube channel at game time.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com. as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
Come to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience. Register to win a trip of your dreams and an all-expenses suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament. You can get a great haircut like I have from all the A+ stylists. That's right, no expense spared for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
We're back. It's time to get into some Detroit Pistons discussions with our boy, Detroit Kool-Aid, a.k.a. Brandon Dent, the one, the only, the man who covers the Detroit Pistons for Woodward Sports. We got some footage we want to play as we get into this because you were there yesterday, but you've been there, you've been grinding. Then you got some footage of Monty, spoke about Jaden Ivey, even though people at this network are trying to take victory laps for something that hasn't happened yet. You know, it's funny, but we'll get into that in a little bit here. Do you have the footage of Monty, Lucas?
Oh, yeah. Let me get the first video real quick.
You're good. And it doesn't matter what order you're playing, but here's Monty speaking to the media.
You got to look at Cade just more of an off-ball role during camp or in practice.
We did something today. Killian had it a lot, and Cade was coming off of it a little bit with live ball situations. I think he's really effective when he has a live ball. He can see the defense without having to hound it and be hounded up the floor.
What's been your assessment of Jaden Ivey so far, the responsibility he has this off-season, including a new role through preseason?
It's too early to make like ironclad assessments, but he scored it in the first game and was getting to the basket. Last game he didn't shoot it as well, but he guarded the ball 80 feet. I've seen the ability, I've seen the potential. He's in a bit of all these guys are in new roles because they don't really know. I haven't declared a starting lineup or anything like that, so everybody's kind of thinking like, what's it going to be? And we said going into it, we're going to compete. We're not giving away minutes. And so I think that stress, I think it allows for guys to grow. And I do understand when you don't know, with such a young team and a new group, I feel like it's important to figure out like who we are, and he's a part of that group. His role may be different, it could be the same, we just don't know yet.
Monty Williams preaching facts, talking about the starting lineup. He even said itself, we haven't declared a starting lineup yet, although some people would disagree with that. You heard it from the man himself. There's no official starting lineup. I want your takeaways, though, being over there, at least for some of the players he highlighted, Cade Cunningham, Killian Hayes, Jaden Ivey. I want to start with Jaden Ivey because that's probably the biggest discussion here. Yeah. Just from being around the team, how has he handled this whole thing? Because nothing's official yet. And I love easy, but again, it's the preseason isn't even over. Like that's where the whole victory lap, Jaden's not starting, yada yada yada. It's already written. Is a little, premature, but your opinion, just Ivy, how he's handled coming off the bench in preseason.
Yeah, that's the thing that I was trying to pry out of Monty Williams with that question is, what has he perceived about Jaden Ivey? And he said that he sees the improvement. He says it's obviously it's too early to make any ironclad decisions on how they're handling it, because he used the word that he used also the first day of training camp.
Mm-hmm.
He's stressing, he's pressing these guys, and he's putting them in uncomfortable situations to see exactly who they are. And me personally, I think he's going to create a monster in Jaden Ivey. And Jaden Ivey, I keep telling people, man, new haircut, new marriage, new baby.
Yeah.
It's a new Jaden Ivey, and he's handling it way better than I thought he would. You know, you look at some other younger players in here. I'm not even going to name the name. There are some other young players across the NBA who they couldn't even accept their locker being changed. Jaden Ivey right now is being put in all types of situations, and I think it's because Monty wants to be able to put his imprint on this squad. He said, like he did with Phoenix, break down all the egos. We're going to reset everything. There are no set starters except for Cade Cunningham. And Jaden Ivey right now is handling it like a champ.
And at least for Asar, because I want to ask you about his defensive potential, because it's crazy to think that Asar, as a rookie, you cannot take him out of the starting lineup because of what he can do defensively. That's already written. Like, he's going to guard the opponent's best offensive player. I mean, me, Sean, and Troy talked about it from half court. Like, his ability and his maturity, too, at his age already, he's a player that I think intrigues me, because it's not just that he's a great defender, Brandon. He does so much more. His playmaking ability. He makes an effect. The shooting is one thing, and I get it. You eventually want to see him be at least a respectable three-point shooter, but just that's what his eventual goal, play next to Cade Cunningham. But, man, what he can do with the basketball as a forward, he's turning in, and this is kind of the future of the NBA, is just positionless basketball. Like, he's a forward, but he's got guard qualities with him. It's crazy for Asar.
Yeah, you know what? I'm so glad that you started with the defense, but then you turned the attention towards what he can do on offense. Because the one way that you reduce his ability or inability right now to potentially shoot at a high clip is to put the ball in his hands and let him do what he does best, and that's playmake. You heard in one of those clips that he said that Monty is testing Cade Cunningham in some off-guard reps. If you look throughout the first two preseason games, one of the things that I thought was brilliant was they had Asar Thompson bringing the ball up sometimes as well. That, to me, especially with how efficient he's looking, he can play in a pick and roll, that to me is going to start to get the best out of if you do decide to start Asar Thompson. And Monty did. He said, listen, his job is to be able to defend the best player. Because Monty said when he looked at the footage, when Cade was playing in those games, he was the one having to go out and try and defend the best player on the other team sometimes. And sometimes it wasn't his assignment. It's just Cade was like, man, I got this.
Right.
But the problem is that he runs his usage up on both ends of the court. So he said he wants somebody that can defend that number one player on the other team so Cade doesn't have to. And he wants somebody that can also take the pressure off of Cade, bringing the ball up full court. That's something that I believe Asar Thompson can do both defensively and offensively, is help Cade Cunningham's usage go down and take better advantage of Cade hitting threes. I wish I sent that clip in, man. They went through a three-point shooting drill. His shot looks tremendously better. It doesn't look as flat. He didn't miss a shot. The only player, so I posted it to Woodward as well, he didn't miss a shot. And so if you're able to get that type of working synergy between two guys that are 6'6" and taller in your backcourt potentially, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
No, yeah, 100%. So we can definitely talk about Jaden Ivey and Asar Thompson, and obviously we like the future of this team. But I think, and this is just my personal opinion, I think the pathway to this Pistons team getting those 35 wins, like you expect, and I would certainly be very happy with, is Cade Cunningham has an all-star caliber season. A, do you foresee that from him? And B, what is his ceiling this year?
Yeah, I'm throwing out a gauntlet. I want this team to improve upon Cade Cunningham's rookie season. That's what I'm saying, 35. Do I believe they'll hit 30 at least? That's what I'm believing they can get to, but I'm expecting them to push for 35, and it's exactly right. For Cade Cunningham to go out there and have an all-star caliber season, which is something he started to do last season, which is something he started to do the second half of his rookie season. He was putting up bananas numbers, and people just don't want to really acknowledge it because it's the Pistons. People believe he's just scoring on a bad team. He doesn't even look for his own shot first, which is something that I think Monty Williams is trying to probably get him to do a little bit more, because he's an effective scorer. I can't necessarily say efficient just yet, but very effective, very efficient in the mid-range though. And I do believe he's going to have that season. Before he went out, he had that 4-point game, which was his 12th game, his last game of last season. The 3 games before that, he was an absolute monster, averaging about 27, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds per game.
I like those. I like those
he was getting
numbers.
like 0.7 blocks, like a block per game during that stretch. And his season numbers in those 12 games averaged out to 26 and 6. That's what we were wondering, all last year when we were kind of going through the footage, through the shows, Jeff. Could he get to at least 25 and 5? Could he be that player?
Yeah.
He showed he could be that, and people still said he started the season slow.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. He started the season slow. He's playing on one leg, and he still put up 26 and 6. Like, dude, and he's healthy, 100% healthy. And I love this comment too, Mr. Ray. He's always preaching, man, facts about the Detroit Pistons. Says Ivy takes the pressure off Cade on the offense. Asard, whoever we pick up as our long-term solution at power forward, will be our 2 best perimeter defenders to alleviate some of that pressure off those guys, which is true. And at least for Ivy defensively, and this is what frustrates me about the Ivy narrative, and I see it, but I don't comment on it because that's why we have a show now to talk about it. Him being a bad defender, like Ivy being a bad defender, and people have to understand, like for Cade and Ivy, they both had years of they had a heavy workload offensively, and for a young player, when you are a rookie and you have a heavy workload, defensively, you're going to take plays off. That's just, it is what it is. Now, Ivy, though, with Cade back, Asar here, they got more help around him. I think there's a lot of untapped potential for Jaden Ivey as a defender. And for people that are saying, he's not a great defender, that's why he's not starting, that's a bunch of BS. You can't teach 6'4", you can't teach close to a 7-foot wingspan. The guy has physical traits, Brandon, and with his athleticism, I think we haven't even seen the best of Jaden Ivey as a defender. I think he could be one of the better shot blockers at the 2-guard spot.
Yeah, when you look at last year, and they were talking about this whole development year, when everything kind of went to crap and everybody got injured. Like, I think people forget Bagley got injured last year in the preseason. Kay was out after the 12th game, and Stewart, before the shoulder injury, had that stretch of games he missed because he jammed up his toe. That eventually put a lot of offensive pressure and offensive development on Jaden Ivey. And I don't know how much the focus was on getting him in his best position to defend, and he was still having to guard the best players because who was out there with him. Now you hear Monty Williams in this clip today that we played, and he said, I actually see the improvement. I see that he's capable, 80 feet capable of guarding and defending effectively. So that's the thing. When we talked about that breakthrough documentary that that the Suns put out when Monty Williams was first hired there, the 2 things he did was affected instantly the team offense and the team defense, and put people and players in their proper and kind of like positions that work towards their skill set better. Mm-hmm. And that's what I see him doing with Jaden Ivey. The other thing here, just a small caveat, whenever these types of like lineup things kind of happen, especially this early in preseason, I remember last year Rod told us, hey, just kind of wait on some things. And then boom, the Bojan Bogdanović trade happened. We were all sitting here wondering, why is Alec Burks starting? Why is he starting? And then what did the rumors start to say? Houston Rockets were looking to trade for him.
Yep.
That's one small caveat to think about.
Is there truth to that? You think there's truth to that? I don't think they should trade Burks just because of, dude, he's just a walking bucket who's a 40% 3-point shooter.
I like Burks,
but there's a lot of guys they got to fit in this rotation. I get that.
Exactly, because he said he wants to go 10 deep, but there are literally 13 players that are rotation type players on this squad right now. So there's going to be some alleviation. There's going to be something that happens this year. Troy Weaver, and I posted it, I'm going to post it as well to Woodward Sports today. I'm going to do an article on it. Troy Weaver talked about the fact that he just wants to see what Monty can do, and then he's starting to kind of really take that sledgehammer to bust some stuff up and bring in those finishing pieces to this Detroit Pistons team.
All right, Kool-Aid. So I'm going to compare the Pistons really quickly to the Red Wings and the Lions. With this season's Lions team, we knew they were making progress the year before, but this year you almost saw from day one, this is a different team. Same with the Red Wings. I know we're only 4 games in. Last year they made some progress, but this year you're like, wow, this looks like a playoff team. This looks like a team that could even maybe win a playoff series. With the Pistons, are you looking for, on day one, are you going to be able to look at this team and them basically look unrecognizable from what they were last year in the positive direction?
I don't know if that's going to be day one. I usually like to go 20 games.
Sure.
But this might be one of those years where you got to see it early. This is something that I've asked a couple of the players. I've asked Coach Williams as well. Listen, how confident and how comfortable are you all at hitting the ground running? And the answers that we keep getting back from Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham are the 3 players I specifically asked, because I think that, and Asar Thompson, because I think that those are the guys we're going to be really keying on. Really important to this. They say that they're ready. Jalen Duren spent most of his summer out with Cade Cunningham, not just at the Team USA stuff, but he said he went to Texas to be with Cade Cunningham to practice, get their chemistry up, because that's the one player that Cade Cunningham really hasn't gotten a feel for as it relates to the pick and roll. So if there's an opportunity for them to do it, I do believe they've been putting in the work. But it's tough, man. When NBA defense starts that game one, it's completely different. And they're scheduled to start the season. It's not necessarily an easy one.
And for the record, because I see a couple of people in the chat, I'm talking about the Pistons in relative to their expectations. I'm not saying that from the day one they're going to look like a playoff team. I think we all agree in this room that we need to see some improvement, and I think all the parts are in place for them to maybe double their win total from last year, because 17 was a fugazi anyway. That's what I meant.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with
that's fair. That's fair. I do believe that this squad. You were with me, bro, at Media Day.
Yeah.
How annoyed did Cade look? He looks annoyed. He's just like, man, I'm asking questions about who I am. I'm answering these questions.
I'm him.
He's like, I just want the games to start, man. Yeah. And that, to me, it excites me because he's the guy that we want to feel that way. And this whole team follows after what he does, after what he feels, after what he's saying.
Yep.
And so this kind of CK Cunningham in this kind of, let's get the game started. Let's get going. I know people are like, oh, he's starting slow in preseason. It's preseason. They're trying to make sure Asar Thompson can be up to speed. They're trying to make sure Marcus Sasser can get up to speed. Look how, night and day from game one to game two. Confidence and jitters. He was a little nervous at first game. Second game, comfortable. Very, very comfortable. So listen, man, this squad, I want to see this team go out there and push as if they want to win more than the 35 games. I want them to be annoyed. I want them to be not as distracted. And I think that Monty Williams is a really, really good coach at making sure to funnel the attention of his team to his voice and to block out all of the other noise.
Yeah, and this comment too, Extreme Shaft. What a name, by the way. He says maybe the Pistons should get rid of all their role players. Sam, what do you think about that?
Oh my God, you guys!
Thank you for shout out to Kool-Aid for joining the show.
You guys never even listened to what I said, so that's all right.
Hey, Flannel, I love the Pistons flannel, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually,
yes.
I think it's a Redwings flannel after what happened yesterday. He's showing D-Mac some love. But Kool-Aid, where can people find you?
Hey, listen, as always, woodwardsports.com, where the articles will be. But at Detroit Kool-Aid and Woodward Pistons, anywhere you can find it as well.
There you go. Appreciate you, my man. You can find Brandon, does great work. You can find his articles, woodwardsports.com. Of course, Woodward Pistons. You guys are starting to, cook a little bit on Table Talk. We'll see how that trends. But people, stay tuned, man. Big things coming for the Pistons season, and Brandon Dent will be behind it all. We'll go to break. When we come back, we'll get into something I thought was interesting. E&E broke it down yesterday, and I stole it. I did.
Hey,
it's a playoff pitcher.
It's all right to be accountable.
No, it's accountable. I'll admit when I take topics. Some people don't do that here at this network. But regardless, NFL playoffs, we'll get into that in a little bit. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Big Boy. Burgers and chicken sandwiches are taking over at Big Boy. You could try their pretzel cheeseburger right there, or the hot chicken sandwich. I'm telling you, it's the move. Go to Big Boy. You can upgrade your fries as well. They got chili cheese, loaded baked potato fries, and they have dessert if you want that. Chocolate peanut butter thunder cake, or satisfy your sweet tooth with Big Boy's funnel cake fries.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends Wednesday, September 13th.
Join now at any Metro Detroit location. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com. Come hang with the Woodward Sports crew this weekend for our Michigan State, and Lions Watch-Along Party, featuring different special guests and surprises. Tune in on Saturday and Sunday on the Woodward Sports YouTube channel at game time.
let's talk about Outdoor Equipment Company, official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan-grown, family-owned, bad boy mowers, tractors, STYL handhelds, and even weed whippers. Shout out my friend Darren McCarty. Liberty trailers, Generac generators, Snow X plows, and salters. Outdoor Equipment Company has it all. Buy it, rent it at 0% financing. Delivery to your doorstep. All you gotta do, visit their website, outdoorequipco.com.
Man, oh man. We had some good guests today. A lot of ball mowers. John Macaroon. We got our guy Detroit Kool-Aid. I have a lot of facts being spoken today. We got to get into some Lions, though. I know we went a little off course there. We wanted to talk about some Pistons. We talked about some Redwings. We're just tapping into all types of sports here in Detroit. But I want to bring up something interesting. And I want to give credit to who made this graphic specifically, because let me just look this up. So we give proper credit. It is Joe Schott, I believe it is, Miami Dolphins journalist. He worked previously for ESPN, but he made this graphic. I don't know if he made it or somebody he knows made it, whatever it is. It's a playoff picture, and I love this. I love things like this because this is through week 6, what the playoffs would look like right now. And you see it, the 1 seed, Sam's Chiefs, and then, of course, the San Francisco 49ers both have the number 1 seed at this moment for right now. We'll see how that trends. But regardless, they have the number 1 seed. But look at some of the matchups. Right, you got the Browns taking on the Dolphins. You got the Steelers taking on the Ravens, I believe it is. Bills and Jags. Rams are in the wild card spot. They take on the Eagles. And look at that. The Seattle Seahawks facing the Detroit Lions.
I want it.
And then you got the Dallas Cowboys.
I want it.
And then you got the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield. That's his breakout game right there to take down the Cowboys.
It's an even quarterback matchup there.
it's an even quarterback matchup. But I want to talk about what the Lions are what kind of matchup they'd have. They face the Seattle Seahawks, a team that, I believe, I don't know the stats specifically, but it's like over the last 8 games that we've played the Seahawks, the Lions have, Pete Carroll coaching, they're 7-1 against the Lions. That's just the data. I don't even know if it's 100% correct, but it's somewhere around that number. It's not great for the Lions. The question I have for everybody is, do you want this smoke? Or do you want the smoke? And this would be at home, of course. It'd be at Ford Field. But, man, the team that just has beaten the Lions through Dan Campbell's tenure, to face them in the playoffs, and we all think they'd win a playoff game. So, like, for me, I would love this because it would be an opportunity for the Lions to get revenge and beat the Seattle Seahawks. But at the same time, Sam Flannel, if I'm thinking, like, logically, I just want to win.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the Seahawks, who are 2-0 with Geno Smith, is the ideal team. That smells like it would be a tough matchup, even at home, because they played the Seattle Seahawks at home, but the Lions shot themselves in the foot. They can't do that again if they're facing the Seahawks. You just can't.
No, when we're talking about the Lions potentially winning their first playoff game since the 1991 season, you most certainly don't want to kind of be Billy Tough Guy and be like, oh yeah, I want the Seahawks. I got to go through the team that has just beaten us. No, in my opinion, you don't want any part of what the Seahawks bring. And I'm not saying that the Lions can't beat them. Actually, I think if they squared up in a playoff game, I would probably pick the Lions to win. But the Seahawks, we'll go back to last year because I think it's relevant. Last season in 2022, the Lions had a very good year, a massive improvement on the season before. They tripled their win total. But what was one of the 2 games that you look back and say, damn, that game really effed us? The game against the Seattle Seahawks, in which they scored 45 points and lost the game because they couldn't force a punt the whole game. Even this year, has the defense for the Detroit Lions played exceptional for the most part?
Yeah.
When did they play exceptional against the Seahawks?
No.
Have the Lions played pretty much turnover and mistake-free football relatively for the most part this season?
Yeah.
Did they against the Seahawks?
They did not.
They did not. That's the thing. There's just something about the Seahawks. They just seem to have the Lions number for right now. And if it were me, I mean, it is me because I am a Lions fan. I would rather face the Rams or the Cowboys at this point, just because the Seahawks, there is something to, I think, a team just knowing how to play another team well. And the Seahawks just seem to have the Lions number. The Lions, for the most part this year, to me, and I think that plays out by their 4 consecutive double-digit wins, look like a machine. Look borderline unbeatable in a lot of ways, but they lost to the Seahawks. So to me, I just want the best possible matchup to generate a playoff win for the Lions because I am starving. You know how old I was when the Lions won that playoff game? I believe I was like a month and a half. And you guys weren't born. Jeff, and Lucas, and JB, you were young as well. I just want to see a playoff win, and I don't want any part of what the Seahawks bring.
Yeah, you know what, Sam, and that's why I do agree with you. Like Tim says, I'd rather play Seattle in the NFC Championship game because the stakes are definitely much higher. I just want a playoff win, and for whatever reason, and there's two ways to look at this. One, the Seahawks have had the Lions number, or you can look at it from this perspective, and I like this Dr. Dirty D. We had 3 turnovers and still would have won if we had the coin flip.
Okay, but
which is fair. That's fair, Sam.
Can I just respond to that really quick though? Yeah. I don't like that logic either because you don't want it to come down to a coin flip.
Well, his point is they played bad and they still almost, if that coin flip went the Lions' way and they scored, they would have won turning the ball over. Was that a pick 6 by Jared?
Yes, Jared.
So he had a pick 6, and then they had the David Montgomery fumble right out of half,
and that basically led to another Seahawks touchdown.
So if they would have won that coin toss and won that football game, that would be impressive. Unfortunately, they did not. But I get the point he's making.
And when you lose the coin, and it's not just losing the coin toss; it's losing the coin toss and letting Geno Smith carve you up down the field for the game-winning touchdown. At that point, the Lions' defense was tired, and they didn't really have anything left for the Seahawks. All I'm saying is that you just want a playoff win. You don't have to face your demons, as they say. I mean, usually it works out that way. It worked out that way for Peyton Manning when he had to get to his first Super Bowl, but we're talking about the first playoff win potentially in over 30 years. I just want the best possible matchup, a team that matches up more poorly with the Lions than the Seahawks do.
Yeah, and Benji says you played your worst game defensively, gave up 2 key turnovers that gave them 14 points and didn't get the ball in OT. And that's a great point. It was their worst game defensively. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, Pete Carroll, I would even say it's old Geno. Geno, yeah, but Pete Carroll's a hell of a coach. And for whatever reason, he has the recipe to beat the Lions. But could he beat them 3 times in a row dating back to last season?
That's
I don't know. I don't know. Something's got to give, Lucas.
It's hard to beat a team twice, let alone 3 times. And not to mention Jamison Williams is back. He's going to be flowing, so they have another element to their offense. And I think the Lions, they got exposed against the Seahawks first round. I can tell you if the Lions are going to play the Seahawks. I just know it. In the opening round, it's going to happen. The Lions are going to win their division. Seahawks are going to be probably the 5 seed. This is the matchup that I anticipate happening. If this happens, I'm Flannel, to your point. This is not the matchup that I'm like pounding on the table for, but it gets me juiced up and excited because of the fact that I think the Lions will take this one down because they have the scheme now. They know what not to do against the Seattle Seahawks. They have more talent, and they have less pressure, too, because honestly, the Seahawks, that's the team that would be considered the favorite in the playoffs just because of the fact that the Lions have never won a playoff game. If the Lions are at home, I like it even more for them, but I think the Seahawks would have the pressure on them. The Lions, I would be more worried if they were to play like a Rams team that has a Matthew Stafford with more playoff experience, Sean McVay, who's won a Super Bowl. I know Pete Carroll has, but it was definitely with a more talented roster, Legion of Boom. You can go down that roster. But I don't trust Geno Smith in the playoffs, all to be honest. I think he's one of those guys that's great in the regular season, but when there's huge stakes at the line, I don't trust Geno Smith. I trust Jared Goff. He's been to a Super Bowl before. I know Dan Campbell hasn't had any playoff experience, but with Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, they're definitely going to be motivated to beat the coordinators across the sideline in Seattle. I would be really excited to play Seattle.
Yeah, I think if the Lions face the Seahawks at home and you just can't turn the ball over, especially when it leads to points. That's the problem. I mean, the Seahawks, they made the playoffs by a smidge last year based off some other things that happened. Actually, the Lions game kind of did cost them because that win got them into the playoffs. Geno Smith had a quarterback rating of 67 in that playoff game against the 49ers, and Brock Purdy carved them up.
Yeah.
I know they're a little bit different defense. They added Witherspoon, of course, and guys are a little older. They had a young defense, but still, they got brought back Bobby Wagner. I get all that. But Brock Purdy threw for over 300 yards and 3 TDs, no picks. I mean, he carved them up in that playoff game. Jared Goff, in the way he's playing, he just can't turn the ball over. And I think the Lions, they can beat the Seahawks. I don't mind it. What about you, JB? You want that Seahawks smoke? Where are you at?
I don't mind it.
The voice of reason.
I don't mind the Seahawks smoke. I think honestly we're a little upset about what happened last season. So if we do end up playing the Seahawks again, we've already played them once. We kind of know their tricks of the trade, as it said. But hey, we can stop K9 on the run. Obviously, we've been stopping all these other running backs. Now it's just you have to focus on DK Metcalf, and we're hoping that GJ will be back. So kind of be at full strength when this playoff happens. So I think it's an easy win. I'll take the smoke.
Ooh,
I don't
easy
mind.
win.
That's the voice of reason. This comment, real quick, Sam Jerry says, actually, it was 3 turnovers that led to 21 points. People forget that. Going forward on 4th down in your own territory, which led to another loss, Seahawks TD.
Yeah, there's just so many correctable things that would have just... I mean, think about it. 3 turnovers. If you want to count the turnover on downs, 21 points. Just take one of them away. Just a single one of them.
You spot them 21, and it goes to OT, and you lost a coin flip, and that was the end. That's all she wrote.
I think when you put the context around it, like, the Seahawks are the team that have the Lions number, but eventually that time's going to be up. It's going to be up eventually, and I think if they were to play in the playoffs, I think that's when it would be.
Well, and for the record, I would pick the Lions, at least as of right now, to beat the Seahawks in the playoffs. I just think there'd be a lot of very nervous and anxious Lions fans because...
I agree with that.
I mean, the Seahawks have came into Ford Field 2 years in a row and just... I mean... Last year, they definitely foiled the season, and this year, it's their only blemish. The Lions have been basically almost a perfect football team for the most part, despite all the injuries, except for the Seahawks. And I have to get this one comment in because people are waiting for it, and I just have to say this really quick. Who's the number 1 seed in the AFC as of right now? The washed Chiefs with the washed Patrick Mahomes, right?
And the washed Miami Dolphins.
Hey, Miami Dolphins are the 2 seed right now.
Give me Miami over KC all day.
They ain't going into Arrowhead in January and beating the Chiefs. That's not happening.
Tyreek Hill has something else to say.
Put some respect on McCole Hardman's name, all right? They traded for him.
Rasheed Rice.
Hey,
actually, I like Rasheed Rice. I do.
2-time Super Bowl champion McCole Hardman. I'm playing by your rules now.
Oh, no.
2 times.
No, not in much of an impact.
Super Bowl champion Kadarius Toney. Super Bowl champion Sky Moore.
None of those guys was as important as D-Mac. All right, I'll tell you that. That's just facts. But the Chiefs, though, number 1 seed in the AFC.
Yeah.
We'll see.
They're washed though. They don't look the same.
They don't.
Patrick Mahomes is washed, right?
They don't.
They really don't, though.
I mean, but
their defense looked better. Their offense kind of reminds me of Philadelphia right now. It's like they look solid, but they're obviously missing Eric Bieniemy.
Dude, you faced a defense that's the worst in the National Football League, and you put up 18 points.
19? But
19.
That's okay.
Come on.
No, I'm just saying the Chiefs have also the best defense they've ever had with Reed and Mahomes. That's facts. Second in the league in points allowed per game.
Just don't throw it to Brian Branch. We'll be all right. That's all I care about.
Hey, Kadarius Toney, don't let it pop out of your hands.
Yeah.
Super Bowl champion Kadarius Toney.
No, he's trash. Kadarius Toney is trash.
Hey, he was big in that Super Bowl though. That's factual.
He was.
Well, okay.
He was big in the playoffs. He's a gimmick player, but he was in the Super Bowl. They didn't know how to game plan for him.
He returned a touchdown to the 3-yard line and scored a touchdown.
How do you think Kadarius Toney would be received if he went to Kansas City, and if he left and he came back? Would he get the love D-Mac gets in Detroit?
Fuck no.
Okay.
No.
Just making sure. Yeah, Tony's a little bitch. That's what I think of Kadarius Toney. But let's go to break.
Don't let Jordan Lewis see that.
Yeah, well, it's just how much he complains, man. It's annoying. Kadarius Toney is just a guy that I would never want on my football team. Ever.
Yep.
Never, ever, ever, ever.
You better hope Jordan Lewis doesn't see it or you're going viral. You can't disrespect any player.
Yeah, he really got mad. I mean, he took some shots at you over nothing. I mean, you're taking some shots at Chase Claypool, but okay.
It's the same thing. It's just do you remember Chase Claypool game on the line for the Pittsburgh Steelers? There's 10 seconds left against the Vikings. He points for the first down. They can't get the ball spiked, and then everything. Just the game's over.
Yeah.
It's not even about. He's just.
And he got traded for a bag of chips, and you're wrong.
He's not stepping foot on the field for the Dolphins.
Yeah, no. Even if Tyreek gets injured, they're going to be like,
Who the fuck is that guy?
Chase Cooper's like, I'm ready. He's like, we'll get the guy behind you. We'll sub him in. We're not getting Chase Claypool.
Braxton Berrios, it's your time.
Yeah, let's bring in Braxton Berrios.
Jordan Spieth, whatever his name, their tight end.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, Lucas Klotz beef with Jordan Lewis. Never knew we needed that.
He got burnt for a touchdown this weekend too.
You're keeping tabs, and you're keeping tabs on him. Jesus. All right, let's go to break. When we get back, we'll preview Thursday Night Football. Wow, CJ Beathard.
No, I think T-Law might be playing.
Is he playing?
I saw something where it's it looks like he is, but
yeah, Trevor's playing.
Well, then I'm gonna have to get into FanDuel. I'm gonna have to talk to Booner tonight.
I got another $200 bonus bet. Dude,
why are you getting these bonus bets?
Because you sign up. The other night, JB, it was middle of the third quarter, and I get on FanDuel, and I noticed I had a $200 bonus bet, and CeeDee Lamb anytime touchdown was plus 450. So I would have made $900. And fuck Dak Prescott, man. Rolling out of the pocket, CeeDee Lamb wide open, gets tackled like the 2-yard line. I was ready just to end it all there.
No, I felt your, because I bet on Tony Pollard to get it, and he missed the wide open, and Dak overthrew him a little bit, dude. Yeah, it's bull. But regardless, I hate betting. It sucks, but I'm still going to bet. Let's go to break. When we come back, we'll preview the Thursday Night Football game. But first, we got to hear about our friends from Guardian Alarm.
Absolutely, a hell of a defense for sure. And let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
Come hang with the Woodward Sports Crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays. Join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions!
With money on the line. Featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel. Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Fairway Packing. For over 60 years, Fairway Packing Co. has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry-aged beef. Experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. Visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods for grab-and-go steaks, and, of course, order online at fairwaypacking.com. Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you guys for tuning in, support the program. If you could do us a favor and like the stream, we're only 8 away from 150, so that's big time. Thank you guys. More to get to. We're going to talk, preview the Thursday Night Football game tonight. We'll get to what's trending with Lucas, and then of course we got mailbag. But for right now, man, and Trevor Lawrence, I got the report. Thanks for Booner to showing us this one. It says Jags, and this is per Adam Schefter. He says Jags will work out quarterback Trevor Lawrence before tonight's game to determine whether or not he can play versus the Saints with his knee sprain. Per source, it could easily be a game-time decision. If Lawrence cannot go, C.J. Beathard would start.
Iowa great.
Probably the best quarterback in Iowa history.
Oh, probably,
my
right?
Gosh.
I'm not saying much. I'm not. That's kind of like, who cares? Like,
I didn't know we'd be giving Beathard some love today. That's interesting. Well, the question I have is, who's winning this football game? I'm rolling with the Saints, and for my FanDuel bets tonight, because I think I picked the Saints to win their division. The Bucs are in lead right now currently, but they're hanging on by a smidge. I think this is where the Saints, they beat the Jags tonight. And listen, I'm high on the Jags. I just think Trevor Lawrence not being healthy, I'm not confident to pick him if Trevor's not going to play. So if he was playing, I think it's a 50-50 coin flip because I like both teams, and I think it's a good matchup. But if he's not playing, I'm not trusting C.J. Beathard against the Saints defense. They're pretty good defense. I'll roll with the Saints, but I think it'll be a close game. And for whatever reason, all primetime games this year have just been disgusting slugfests. I mean, it's like 2016. You got your Chiefs and Broncos. Ugh. I mean, that game itself was gross. Whatever it is, probably bet on the under and give me the Saints to win in a close one.
You know what? If you're the New Orleans Saints right now, you just have to nut up and take control of this division, for crying out loud. Because here's the thing. Coming into the year, I think we all knew that the Saints, in terms of known commodities, in terms of talent, they had the most talent. And now you see that the Carolina Panthers aren't going to win anything with Bryce Young, at least this season. They're the only winless team in the NFL, and some people actually predicted them to be good. You see the Falcons, even though a guy like Bijan Robinson is playing really, really well, it's Desmond Ridder over there. And you saw how he looked in the last game, basically costing a team his team the game himself. And then you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Baker freaking Mayfield, who actually finally looks like Baker Mayfield, courtesy of the Detroit Lions. Shout out, by the way. If you're the New Orleans Saints, you have to take control of this division. You've got the most talent. You've got the best quarterback in the division by a mile right now. Even though it's Derek Carr, he's still the best quarterback in the division by a mile. You've got Alvin Kamara back. You've got a lot of great defensive pieces like Cam Jordan and Marshawn Lattimore. This is Tyrann Mathieu. This is a game at this point in the year, especially if Trevor Lawrence is either out or compromised. You can't lose this game. You cannot let Baker Mayfield win this division. I know it's a little bit of heart over head talking, but the New Orleans Saints, they have to get control of this season. And this is the game, especially, this is a game where I think playing on a Thursday will help them. Because if this was a Sunday game, I don't think Trevor Lawrence, there would be any question about him missing it.
Yes, and that's a great point. And for me, at least, selfishly, for my own take, I'd want the Jags to win because it helps my narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope
as well as mine.
It does. It helps my narrative, and I hope if Trevor Lawrence plays, he throws for 4 TDs and 300 yards because it helps my narrative for him for MVP, which is probably unlikely at this point. But Lucas, what do you think for the Saints this year? Because Saints defense, I mean, you go back this year, game 1 to now, and they lost last week to the Houston Texans. C.J. Stroud, there was first pick, who I called. He'd throw his first pick, but they still only gave up 20 points, and they still lost, which was weird. Before that, they shut out the New England Patriots. They got destroyed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which was a weird game on its own. Held the Packers to 18. They held the Carolina Panthers to 17. They held the Titans to 15. So defense a little inconsistent, but if T-Law plays, man, it'll be a different outcome, I think.
If T-Law plays, I think this game will probably be like a 10-point game. But if CJ Beathard plays, I think this game's really going to be close because even with him in, the Jags defense is just a tough matchup for the Saints offense. And even likewise, like take CJ Beathard out of there. Like Travis Etienne's going to be a nightmare for their best linebacker, Demario Davis. Marshawn Lattimore's all-pro caliber corner, but so is Calvin Ridley on the receiving end.
Yep. That would be
Evan
a good
Ingram,
matchup.
again, you talk about Travis Etienne being a mismatch. You got him. They got Christian Kirk. They have a ton of weapons. And then you go back to the defensive side. Devin Lloyd's an athletic linebacker. Say what you want about Chad Muma. He's kind of inconsistent, but he's mobile. Andre Sisco, Tyson Campbell, Josh Allen. This is a very talented Jaguars team. So even if CJ Beathard is out there, CJ Beathard isn't the type of backup who's going to be throwing 3 interceptions. He's just the type of guy that's going to take what's given to him. And that's why it can cost you in the game because he doesn't take any chances. But I think either way, CJ Beathard, Trevor Lawrence is going to be a close game, and I'm going to take the Jags regardless. I really am.
Even with Beathard?
Yep.
Wow, it's a good one.
I think it could be.
You know what? And that's where I'm split because if T-Law doesn't play, I'm rolling with the Saints. But if he plays, man, it's a coin flip.
And it's one of those things where it sounds stupid, but from go to Trevor Lawrence to CJ Beathard, it's a drop-off, but it's hard to game plan for that. You don't know what the Jaguars' offense is going to look like, especially like Dennis Allen, good defensive mind, but he's not the most consistent head coach. So you'll see him shut out the Patriots last week, but then like you said, they got blown out by the Buccaneers. So I don't think the Saints know what they are yet. They got to find a way to get Alvin Kamara going. That's just plain and simple.
Actually, good thing you said that because I was going to bring that up. I think this is a big game for Alvin Kamara because his snap count's been increasing over the last couple of weeks, and I think he's probably a full go at this point. So hint. Might sprinkle a couple dollars on some Alvin Kamara props. But regardless, there you have it. Let's go to break. We'll get to what's running with Lucas, and we'll get to mailbag. But first, you got to tell us about our friends over at Dispo because we'll be there tomorrow, Sam Flannel.
Yes, we absolutely will be there tomorrow. Just righty here. Experience Dispo Romeo, a team that curates an exclusive atmosphere. Mixed with fresh inventory from Michigan's largest variety of products. The first ever cannabis mall of its kind is conveniently located off Van Dyke and 32 Mile Road in Romeo. Dispo Romeo is now open late night until midnight every day except Sunday. Can it get any better than that? Dispo Dispensary, DispoShops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Ooh.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
When buying or selling real estate, flexibility and control over the sales process is key. Sellers, how would you like the freedom of canceling your listing agreement at any time for any reason with no penalty? That is exactly what Mark White & Associates offers. It's called the Minute-by-Minute Listing Agreement by Mark White & Associates. Try Mark White's risk-free minute-to-minute listing agreement today. Looking to buy or sell real estate? Visit markwhitesells.com or call 248-290-8242. markwhitesells.com, where flexibility meets success.
By the way, I wanted to throw this in earlier, but for those who aren't aware of what's going on this weekend, of course, Michigan plays Michigan State, and we'll be having a pregame show. Sam Flannel will be a part of that pregame show, right?
I will, yes.
So Sam will be holding it down. Is you and Stick?
Spencer.
Spencer, okay. Him and Spencer. That'll be a good one. The rivals, the Michigan State fan, the Michigan fan, they'll be going at it Saturday for the pregame show, and of course, we'll have the college live stream. So whether you're a Spartan fan, which, or you're a Michigan fan, it's going to be a great time. Boys will be drinking some long drinks watching the stream, so tune in. The stream starts, I believe, at 7:30, so the boys will be there locked in, and the pregame show is at, I think, right before then, 6 to 7:30. There you go. So pregame show and watch party, be there. Lucas, I can't. I've been waiting to do it. JB's been doing a good job holding it down, by the way. What's trending with JB? Now it's back. You know what time it is? We're trending with Lucas. Lucas, what do you got for us?
Shout out to JD, by the way. He sent me this morning, and I just had to play because I thought it was funny. But Bears fans, they're still a wreck, and it's now getting to the youth. They're getting frustrated. They don't even know what football is, and this is their reaction.
Turn this off! I'm getting frustrated! Turn this off! I'm getting frustrated!
We've all been there as Lions fans, but how long? Yeah. How long until the Chicago Bears will have a winner in that city? How long do you guys think?
Oh, that man's going to be collecting his retirement. I think by the time, that little man right there, it's going to be a while. But I'll tell you what, they just got to get it starts at the top. And we talk about this with Sheila Hamp. And I feel him because I was like that as a child too. A lot of frustrating years being a Lions fan. Will it get better? Me talking to a Bears fan? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay, so I have a take on the Bears, which I think is interesting. I think the Bears will be one of the most long-suffering franchises for a certain period of time that we've ever seen. I think they become the post-Boomer Esiason and Andy Dalton, Marvin Lewis Cincinnati Bengals. The team that drafted Achilles Smith, the team that drafted Kajana Carter, and their best player was Corey Dillon, who put up a lot of numbers on those terrible teams. I think that's what the Bears end up, because you know why that is? I don't think Ryan Poles has any idea what he's doing. I think that's been proven.
None. No, I just can't get it out of my head, Lucas, the Chase Claypool trade. Like, you traded essentially a first-round pick.
Doubled up with the Tremaine Edmonds signing.
And then you threw a bag at Tremaine Edmonds, who, that defense is atrocious.
The only, win that I think he has on his resume is the DJ Moore trade.
Yeah, that one, a good one. Because they traded back and got their future left tackle and got DJ Moore, which DJ Moore is accounting for a majority of Fields' yards.
The offense. He's the offense.
He's the offense. And then Sam's boy Khalil Herbert's out. So
yeah,
it's tough.
Not my best prediction.
But he did look pretty good before that.
I mean, for the record, David Montgomery's out too.
Yeah,
but David Montgomery has 6 touchdowns.
Sure. I'm not, that isn't me taking any sort of victory lap or anything. It's just that.
So what was it then, Flannel? Just a slight jab?
What was that? What was that?
Because
you're on the stand. What was that?
I'm just saying.
I'm just stating
the Lions running backs are having a hard time staying healthy this year, just like a lot of other position groups, particularly the secondary.
Like a lot of running backs, Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb.
Yeah,
running backs hard to stay healthy.
It is hard to stay healthy.
But JB,
interesting.
How long till Chicago has a winner?
Oh boy.
Yeah, you're the voice of the Bears fan base, JB.
The voice of the Bears fan base.
I'm kidding.
If they do things properly and start losing the rest of these games, it could be as early as next season. If
Caleb Williams don't want to go there.
Williams and Marvin Harrison. Look, out of all the organizations, I feel like the Bears would be the dumbest one to sit here and say, hey, we'll give you a piece of our team. Yeah, we know you wanted that in the beginning, so here, we'll give you a piece as long as you come to Chicago. I think they're the franchise that would be stupid enough to actually give him what he wants. So it could be as early as next season if the Bears, fuck around and find out.
Yeah, well, listen, the Bears, I have the path to getting back to winning. It's very simple, and you're gonna have to take a lot of what the Lions have. You're gonna have to hire Ben Johnson. You're going to have to give Caleb Williams a majority share in your franchise, and then you're going to have to fire Ryan Poles and bring in Ray Agnew. All right? You take some of the Lions people, maybe you have a chance. But guess what? It's not happening. Bears are screwed. Bears are screwed.
And another fan base that's going through it, and JB might have already been on this because I know JB's on his P's and Q's when it comes to stuff that's trending. He probably already sent this in the group chat. Patriots fans.
Oh, jeez.
They're done too. They are done too. Look at this.
This is how much I'm fucking done with Mac Jones, güey. Neta, güey. Ya valió este pinche bastardo, me cayó a la verga este mother... Pinche bastardo, güey. Me cayó hasta la verga, Mac Jones. A la verga. I'm fucking done with Mac Jones, bro. What fire can you start? Have you fucking started it? I'm just fucking turning it off.
Turning it off. Whatever he's doing, he's turning it off. Mac Jones days in New England, they're over. They're over.
I don't understand burning jersey. Am I the only one with that? Like, you're spending like 100+ bones on a jersey and you burn it. Like, what came from that result?
I feel the same way. Like, why? Like, I paid for this jersey. Like, I'm going to keep it even though the quarterback is terrible. I just don't wear it.
Like, what's the outcome? What's the outcome of doing that?
Listen, I'm just letting you know, if I went from Tom Brady to Mac Jones, I'd be burning jerseys too. Like,
that's fair.
I can understand where he's coming from, especially for how Mac Jones is look. He's a dirty player, grabbing dudes' nuts for no reason. Sauce Gardner and Jaquan Brisker when he was sliding. Like, he's just a dirty player. I wouldn't want anything to do with him. I'm a Patriots fan. But my question to you guys is, what should the Patriots do as their next step? Should they go get a Kirk Cousins? Should they draft a guy? Should they fire Bill Belichick? Should they do all three?
Well,
what is their next move?
It's very simple. Bill Belichick, thank you for your services. Goodbye.
Oh, you can't fire Bill Belichick.
No. Bill, for PR reasons, you don't fire him. He steps away.
You say you're more Flannel.
He steps away because you talk to Bill. If he doesn't want to leave, and you're stuck with him, then fine, Bill. You have no control over decision making in terms of drafting and signing. Take him out of that. Just make him be the head coach, because the whole point of him being the GM and the head coach, they've drafted some pretty good players late. Of course, they're good at developing, but some things, man, are just questionable. Like, if I'm the Patriots, and I love this comment too because it really puts it in perspective. And I can't find the comment. I want to find it, but it's essentially saying, imagine winning all those Super Bowls and having 2 years and now you're frustrated.
Thank you.
Like, come on, dude. You guys are a bunch of spoiled brats. Come on. That's a little ridiculous. I mean, we're talking to Lions fans here that have been starving for a playoff win, and you've won a handful. As many Super Bowls with Tom Brady as I have on my hands, as many fingers. And you're over here complaining?
I'm just saying. You get your point and then I'll respond.
No, you can't fire Bill Belichick as the head coach. He's the greatest coach of all time.
What about as like the GM?
Sure.
Okay, so keep him as a GM, or
but
fire GM, keep him as a head coach.
Okay, hold on. The Bill Belichick thing, and I respect Bill, but like, him without Tom Brady is not looking great.
Oh, so it was all Brady now. Now all the Brady people are taking the victory lap.
I don't want to say it's all Brady. I'm not saying that, but man, I think Brady had more of an impact than maybe people thought. Because remember the question was, is it Bill or Tom? Well, you found out.
You didn't find out because Bill Belichick's defenses were constantly in the top 5, top 10, Tom Brady's entire career.
Tom Brady literally won a Super Bowl with Bruce Arians as his head coach.
Doesn't matter,
and it wasn't like he had a clean path there either. Like, that was a loaded NFC. He beat your boy Aaron Rodgers. And then he went on and beat your boy Patrick Mahomes. Like,
he beat them, not the defense. The defense held the Chiefs to 9 points.
Buccaneers beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
Correct.
And Tom Brady played excellent.
He wasn't excellent. He was fine. He was solid. He was crisp.
You know what? Mahomes played like that. You'd be giraffe sucking him.
You know why it's a great pairing? Because Bill is a mastermind on the defensive side of the ball. Tom would handle things offensively. Now that he's not there, you can't just be like, well, the defense looks okay, which they actually don't look that great this year, but regardless, that offense has been atrocious since Tom left. And you're the head coach. Figure it out. I mean, why do they stink, Sam? Figure it out.
Well, Mac Jones is worse than Tom Brady. Oh my God, hot take.
So because he has to have the GOAT at quarterback to win, that's fair.
No, I mean they won 11 games when Matt Castle was quarterback.
So what
That's
happened to
also
that?
fair.
So let's go. So if they can win with Matt Castle, so Mac Jones is even more significantly worse than Matt Castle.
He is. Matt Castle was actually pretty solid. Mac Jones is terrible.
Okay, it's all Mac Jones, none on Bill Belichick. That's the take.
I'm just saying that. Does Bill Belichick not deserve carte blanche? He's the best coach ever.
You're talking for resume. I get that, but I'm talking right now in 2023.
He's behind the 8 ball.
He's
man.
Yeah.
Okay, and
fine.
I don't
He's
think
done.
Bill's a guy that's going to be like, and I heard Shannon
Hang it
Sharp and
up.
Stephen A. saying this too. Like, Bill's not going to be a guy that's like, all right, I'll stop being the GM and I'll be a head coach. Like, I think Bill at this point would almost rather be the GM than the head coach at this point. Like all the distractions that he had, if he could just sit up in the office and make the play calls for the organization as far as a personnel standpoint, I think he'd rather do that. But this team is obviously so far behind the 8 ball. Like this isn't high school football. This isn't even like college football where you get lifetime contracts. Like if you are not producing, it's the next man up. And at that point, like if Bill Belichick goes through this season and he still makes all the situations, like taking Tyquan Thornton, Cole Strange, like you can go down the list. And it's because he's taking those guys because he's trying to coach them up. And even when he has the opportunity to coach them up, they're not doing anything. Like the offense is not doing anything. Ramondre Stevenson, what the fuck has he done this year? They make all these signings and they're just doing nothing. Like at some point, if you're the New England Patriots and you want to win, you have to change something. And they're changing pretty much everything except the GM and head coach.
Yeah, you know what I love too about Pete Carroll, because he's up there too. He's older. He's got a couple of years left in him until he wants to hang it up. But regardless, you know what Pete Carroll did? He brought in Shane Waldron from the LA Rams and just allowed him to call plays. Like he gets it. Like Bill Belichick, like no OC for the Patriots in recent history besides Josh McDaniels, and you'll see how that's going. He's not pumping out OCs. Like Pete Carroll at least adjusted, brought in a young offensive-minded guy, and Geno Smith has looked great the last 2 years. So Bill's inability to adjust, like you said, he's behind the 8 ball a little bit. I love Bill. I think he's one of the greatest head coaches of all time, if not the greatest. But to sit here and say that in 2023 he's one of the best in the league, I don't know. Time's past him, I think.
Okay, that's fine. And let me just respond to something really quick to what Booner said in the chat. He says that Belichick needed Brady. Well, Brady needed Belichick as well.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
100%.
Yeah.
Tom Brady wouldn't be Tom Brady if it wasn't like a huge part for Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick wouldn't be Bill Belichick if it wasn't for Tom Brady.
I mean, people like Booner suck off Tom Brady so hard that they probably think that Tom Brady would have won all those Super Bowls with Adam Gase or Matt Eberflus or somebody like that. Am I right, Booner? Am I right?
Yeah, and even saying like Belichick wouldn't have those Super Bowls with Brady, you have to say also Brady wouldn't have those Super Bowls with Bill Belichick. Like I get that.
Okay, fine.
I agree. I think Tom, if you're going percentages, I would say like 60-40. I would say 60 Tom, 40 Bill. Because you got to have a guy like Tom to win these football games.
As much as we want to drown Flannel out right now, especially in the chat, like those defenses, like Bill Belichick is still coaching a great defense. Like the defense in New England has never once been bad. And defense wins championships, especially in that era. I know right now it might be kind of favored toward offense.
Yep.
And that's why I'm saying I think Bill Belichick is kind of behind the 8 ball. He's still focusing on defense. And that's not the way that the NFL is going. But when Brady and Belichick were in their era, man, like you can't deny either of their greatnesses. You just can't.
Well, people in the chat are. They're taking their victory lap over Bill Belichick.
Don't let it get to you, Flannel.
It's ridiculous.
Chuck Brewer says, Jeff, Tom won with a mid-coach. Bill hasn't won with a mid-quarterback. Just saying.
Okay, Bruce Arians, for the record, is not a mid-coach. He's two-time coach of the year and a great offensive mind. That's facts. That's facts.
So you giving him credit for that Tampa Bay Super Bowl over Tom? What percentage is he giving
Bruce Arians? So
Tom?
Bruce Arians gets no credit.
No, I'm just asking you. I'm just asking a question.
You know what?
What percentage of the credit does he get?
You know what? I'm going to satiate all of you MFers. Tom Brady, actually, in this one Super Bowl, is the only quarterback in Super Bowl history to get 110% of the credit.
No, I'm asking you. What percentage would you give Bruce Arians for that Super Bowl? And him and Tom, how would they split it?
Well, it's not as easy as a pie chart. There's a lot of factors that go into it. This was a roster that was pretty damn loaded. Jameis Winston threw 30 interceptions the year before. But Tom Brady came to a losing team that had a cupboard that was bare. I'm done today, boys. I'm done.
I was just asking a question.
You guys are on a level today.
I just wanted to ask Sam how much credit would you give Tom? He doesn't want to even answer that. Okay. We'll go to break here. We'll go to a break here when we come. Wow, okay. Get the questions ready. We'll try to answer as many as we can. But before that, though, Sam, you got to tell us about Lady Jane's. No middle fingers, though, for this ad read, please.
Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Lady Jane's, where I get all these great haircuts and have nervous breakdowns. Come to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience. Register to win a trip of your dreams and all expenses paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament. That's right, no expense spared for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Come hang with the Woodward Sports Crew this weekend for our Michigan State, and Lions watch-along party featuring different special guests and surprises. Tune in on Saturday and Sunday on the Woodward Sports YouTube channel at game time.
Burgers and chicken sandwiches are taking over at Big Boy. Try our new pretzel bacon cheeseburger. Turn up the heat with Bob's Hot Chicken Sandwich. Upgrade those regular fries with our chili cheese fries or loaded baked potato fries. Hit your sweet tooth with funnel cake fries or Reese's chocolate peanut butter thunder cake. Load up on all your favorites today at Big Boy.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Let me tell you about our friends over at 5 Iron Golf. Play, practice, and party at 5 Iron Golf, downtown's newest sports bar. 13 TrackMan simulators, and on top of that, certified instructors, and most importantly, a full bar and restaurant. Mention promo code Woodward at checkout for 50% off your first visit, and visit the 5irongolf.com to tee up good times. That is 5irongolf.com to tee up good times. Wow. We're back. We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. The mailbag is coming in, and man, it's a lot of hate, Sam. I'm going to let you read mailbag. How about that?
Nah, it's okay. I'm good.
Okay.
Y'all just can't handle me saying anything slightly negative about your God. That's okay. That's all right. That's all right. You know what? Actually, you know what? I'm going to change my tune. Darren McCarty should not only be in the Hall of Fame, he should have his own wing.
You're going extreme.
He should have his own wing.
Now you're being extreme. You were being petty. Now you're extreme.
He should have his own wing of the Hall of Fame.
No one's saying that. No one's saying he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, I'm sure there's people in the chat that would love
No, I don't know. They are not saying that. They're saying put some respect on Darren McCarty's name. That's all they're saying. I think he takes it to the extreme. I think that's why people are just pissed off. Coach Walk 37, Sam's favorite players are everyone's bandwagon guys. Mahomes, LBJ, and Rodgers.
Oh, so I'm not allowed to like Hall of Fame all-time great players? Okay. Cool.
Dude, yeah. No one's... I'm trying to be the voice because people are... I'm trying to... translate
Mike G,
what
I'm
the
not
people are
apologizing to fucking anyone. You can stop that in the chat.
Sam,
you guys should apologize to me.
Oh my God.
I ain't apologizing for shit because I didn't do anything wrong. I can have an opinion. Am I not allowed to have an opinion? I didn't say anything personally about Darren McCarty. I just criticized his career. That's it. That's it.
But like,
he's a professional athlete. He can handle it. You guys can't because you guys are idol worshippers.
Yeah, I think we just call it there. I think.
All right, good show, fellas. Good show.
Oh my God! Yeah, I'm saying, guys,
I'm just waiting for these comments.
Yeah,
I'm just waiting.
The people are fired up.
Drop me out of my seat, dude.
Hoof Hearted says our opinion on Sam's opinion is that it's dog shit.
Okay, fine. You can have an opinion as well. I'm not calling for. I'm not, and that's fine.
Freddie Felt says apologize to my nuts.
Say it, Flannel.
Apologize to that man's nuts.
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not apologizing for anything because I didn't say anything. I'm allowed to have an opinion.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get called. I mean, yeah, it is an opinion. I disagree with it. The people disagree with it. But you do understand that the people aren't clamoring this man to be a Hall of Famer.
Sure.
They're just mad that you maybe went out a little pocket going after D-Mac a little bit. You get where they're coming from.
I mean, you guys disrespect actual Hall of Famers on other teams all the time. That's facts. You guys do it all the time. Only good players in all 4 major sports reside in Detroit, Michigan. If I say anything even slightly, if I even say that the Chiefs are having a good year, you're like, oh my God, Mahomes.
But you didn't say,
Cry
like,
harder.
Sam, that would have been D-Mac doesn't deserve a statue. That's okay.
No, it wasn't okay,
No,
though.
it
I saw
was.
people in the chat actually say, like, hater.
No, that's okay. But the way where you took it after that was, like, that's why people are pissed. But regardless, that'll do it for today's show. Sam, it's going to be okay.
Namaste, Sam.
Namaste.
Hey, Vitriolic Carnage, I hope you keep your job because I'm a bigger man than you are.
All right.
Bitch.
Well, oh my God, this man. Okay, you know what? We gotta get out of here. We gotta get the hell out of here. All right, guys. See you tomorrow. We'll be at Dispo tomorrow live. Sam needs to smoke the Ravens pack to calm down. But regardless, thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. Jeff Iafrate, Sam Flannel, JB, and Lucas Klotz back with us on a Thursday. Have a good one, everybody. Big D Energy coming up next.